Welcome in. It is Football Friday, right? NFL Draft Day 2 tonight. Appreciate everybody joining us at Trim Tab last night. Had a great time. Appreciate everybody's fervor as they were fired up last night. Damian was pretty excited about Cam Ward going number 1 to the wonderful Tennessee Titans. Not so much for our good caller, Chris, who showed up just in time to watch his Saints.
Oh, God.
Yeah, he
didn't have Kelvin Banks Jr. on his bingo card?
No. Matter of fact, Chris got up and threw his Saints hat down, kicked it across Trim Tab, and had a wonderful, I think it was a Las Vegas Raiders fan, pick the hat up and bring it back over to him. So
I think Damian should be happy for his Titans.
Yeah, I mean, he was the only one cheering. It didn't seem like there was a lot of Titans fans there last night.
What about Falcons fans? Were they happy?
Did not see any. So I can't tell you whether they were or not. I'm not really sure. But if you're a Shedeur Sanders fan, you will be waiting until early tonight probably before you see what team he's going to go to. That was just a very interesting and odd evening for the Sanders family there outside of Dallas, Texas.
What were you thinking? What were your sentiments? Because and this is all theory and conjecture, but based on what we heard from team interviews, do you think that there were some teams, or just maybe the way that it fell with those teams that, because when the Steelers did not take a quarterback at 21, Pat, and you start looking at the rest of the teams, you go, well, if there's not some serious trades, and we saw one with the Giants and the Rams with Jackson Dart, but if people don't start making moves, this is not looking good. Not only for Shedeur Sanders, this is not looking good for Jalen Milroe.
No, and I go back to what I said yesterday in regards to this draft class from a quarterbacks. I mean, just all the people that follow the NFL draft throughout the years, they would straight up tell you that this class was pretty poor. And Cam Ward, who went number 1 overall, you know, he would absolutely have been the 4th quarterback taken in last year's draft. So I don't think it's so much of an indictment of any of the interviews that took place with Shedeur Sanders. I just think from a football perspective, these teams, what their needs are. And I know that Nick Saban, whether it was Nick Saban or Mel Kiper Jr., they just kept making excuses left and right for Shedeur Sanders. And I understand where they're coming from. But at the end of the day, these teams have to do what they feel is best. And if they don't feel like that's going to be a good fit for their personnel, their locker room, or their quarterback room, then it's another reason why he's sitting there right now.
Well, and Nick Saban saying on the broadcast last night, and I enjoyed the coverage. I started out with Greeny there on ESPN and that crew and Booger and all of them, and then went over to the ABC broadcast. But Nick Saban, at some point, you probably heard this when he said, "Hey, can we stop focusing on him not going or not being taken at this point? He's going to be taken. Think he's going to be a fine player." It's like, Coach, that's kind of why we watch. That's what draws people in, and telling that storyline. And as bad as it may be for some, I think that there were probably a lot of people that were not upset that Shedeur Sanders did not get taken last night.
Well, it's cost him a lot of money. I mean, that's for sure, because now let's just say that he is drafted tonight with the Browns on the clock with the 33rd pick. If he is drafted tonight, his 4-year deal with the Browns will be $11.8 million. Quite a departure from being an upper tier first round guy, as in comparison when Cam Ward is going to get a 4-year, $48.7 million contract with the Titans, being the number 1 overall pick. And just the way it goes, Jackson Dart with the Giants at number 25, he gets a 4-year deal worth $17 million. So just by the 25th pick in the draft and the 33rd pick in the draft, you're looking at Shedeur Sanders losing about $7 million off of his total deal. Not a year, but his total deal. So he would sign a deal with Cleveland around 11 per year. 11 over a 4-year period.
But, Pat, you cannot forget about the album sales that he is going to have.
Well, that's true. I'm sure he'll release
that thing goes platinum.
A new song.
Yeah.
But, so yeah, I just the yelling and screaming by Mel Kiper last night and comparing Shedeur Sanders to Dan Marino and some of these Hall of Famers was just absolutely sickening. It was terrible. And I didn't spend a lot of time because we were at Trim Tab, and of course you're in an event, you know, you can only hear so much, but I was able to get home and watch the back end of the draft and being able to kind of flip around and see everybody's coverage, whether it was Nick Saban, whether it was Mel Kiper, and I just was like, oh, okay, this is the theme for the rest of the night, and will be the theme today throughout the day in regards to what's going to happen tonight. I think he's a good quarterback.
Yeah.
I don't think he's a great quarterback. I think he's a good quarterback.
Right.
Do I think he'll do well in the NFL? I do. But I mean, when you're asking these teams to commit that much money and what you're trying to do as an offense, and you also have a situation where some, I mean, let's face it. I mean, Molly, what was the story you pointed out to me yesterday about the Giants? What was the connection with Jackson Dart? You remember the social media, the Instagram?
Oh yeah, the GM's son had posted or reposted a video from Jackson Dart on his Instagram story. And I think right after he got in trouble because then he went private on all socials. But if you remember from watching Hard Knocks, I believe last year, he told his dad, "You should draft Jaden Daniels. Like, this kid's a stud." And look
his
what
dad
happened.
didn't do it.
His dad didn't do it. So maybe his dad took his advice from his Instagram and took Jackson Dart.
Yeah, and not to mention the fact that Peter Schrager and tons of other NFL people, they were very consistent that the Giants and Brian Dable loved Jackson Dart, loved him. That was not in question. It was just whether Jackson Dart, one, was going to be there, because there were some rumors yesterday that the Saints were going to take Jackson Dart at 9, and then Jackson Dart was still there when the Giants came on the board, and so it was just kind of a no-brainer that that's what was going to happen. Now, when the Steelers did not take Shedeur Sanders, I knew the die was cast for the first round.
Same.
I knew that was it.
Yeah.
That he was, and of course some folks were making fun of Tomlin because, Tomlin said in his press conference last night that, we needed DL help.
Yeah.
That's what we need. Yes, they need a quarterback, but they
need immediate help.
Yes, and they believe that, who they drafted from Oregon was someone that was going to obviously, fit their DNA and what they were going to be able to do.
And maybe the Steelers have plans for somebody who's still out there, whether it's going to be Aaron Rodgers or somebody else, and they have something in the works. But the Steelers are always a really tough team to read. And we talked about that on the show when somebody said, "Well, I've seen their draft board and he's right there at the top." Yeah, the Steelers, they don't really operate that way. Yeah,
I mean, that story that came out yesterday, whoever that writer was in Pittsburgh, saying that Jalen Milroe, and listen, Jalen Milroe, I mean, I'm sitting here looking at the next 10 picks in the draft. You got the Browns, Texans, Titans, Browns again, Raiders, Patriots, Bears, Saints, Bears again, and Jets. So out of those teams I just mentioned, obviously, the Browns need a quarterback. Would the Raiders take a Jalen Milroe? There's been a rumor that Milroe could go be Geno Smith's backup. Patriots don't need a quarterback. The Bears don't need a quarterback. But what about at 40? What did the Saints do there? Instead of taking a quarterback at number 9, and I think it was our good friend down in the state of Louisiana earlier today, T-Bob Hebert, he tweeted out, if the Saints get Jalen Milroe at number 40, this is a home run draft for the Saints. So there's at least one person in the Louisiana media that is not crapping on Jalen Milroe.
Has he talked to Matt Moscona?
I don't know.
They'll have a chance.
They might have passed each other in the hallway today down at ESPN Radio in Baton Rouge.
Yeah, I would think that Shedeur Sanders and Jalen Milroe go pretty early tonight. But who knows? Maybe they fall even further.
Well, it's interesting depending on who you look at. So if you look at these best available lists that are out there, so Daniel Jeremiah, he lists the top 10 that's available. Shedeur Sanders is the third best available going into round 2. Jalen Milroe is not in that list at all.
No.
What's also interesting is Pro Football Focus. They have Shedeur as the 16th best available player tonight, and Jalen Milroe is the 69th best. So Pro Football Focus has absolutely no love whatsoever for either Shedeur Sanders or Jalen Milroe when it comes to round 2 tonight.
My prediction, and I was thinking about this before the show, but it is Shedeur Sanders. He's definitely going to go before Jalen Milroe. That's my prediction. I feel really confident in that. But I don't know who it's going to be. I could not even tell you 2 particular teams that I would choose between and say, he's going to go here or here. Who knows?
Well, unfortunately for Coach Prime's family, all signs point to Cleveland.
Yeah.
because with the Browns having the first pick in the second round and then the fourth pick in the second round, and the two teams that squeezed in between the Browns, they don't need quarterbacks. So there's your option. I mean, he's either going to be a Brown, a Raider, or a Saint. And if he falls to number 42, which we all think that's not going to happen, he's a New York Jet.
Well, and it's got to be
Easy.
killing him, too, that you look at what the Jags gave up to jump up to number 2 to grab his teammate, Travis Hunter, which was a beautiful move.
Wonderful, yeah.
Major kudos to JP Shedrick,
Yeah.
who joined our show a couple days ago. And he straight up told us, he said, if Travis Hunter is available, they are going all in and going after him. Now, JP didn't tell us that they were going to trade the farm to get up to number 2 to get Travis Hunter. But that's exactly what they did last time. Because when that flashed on the board last night and Adam Schefter was hyperventilating about the trade, we're like, oh, man, this is going to be a fun night. You know, because I was hoping that there was going to be, you know, even more stuff because we had heard that maybe, you know, 3 was going to be in play. They were going to be moving in and out and things of that nature. But, you know, towards the back end of the draft last night, she had a couple of trades. But, man, to start the draft the way Jacksonville did, major kudos for what they did because – as we both know, there's a window, especially with Trevor Lawrence. He's already been injured a few times. You just need to go all in. You just don't know when you have an opportunity, and they need to build this around him.
Well, it didn't make a ton of sense if they were going to get another running back. And I know that position, you can have guys get banged up. If you play fantasy football and you keep up with it, then having a healthy running back all season, it's pretty rare. But yeah, for them to go ahead and say, look, we've got options with this guy. He's the most dynamic guy in the draft. His work ethic is incredible. All he's ever done is perform at an elite level. And now against major competition, he was the best in high school football coming out and going into Jackson State when he decided he was going to go to an HBCU and then transferring to Colorado. But you can use him wherever you want. And I do believe that they'll use him on both sides of the ball. And it could be situationally, but I was reminded last night on the broadcast, and I forget which one it was, but they pointed out that Deion Sanders, his former college coach, actually in one season, he started 8 games on the defensive side, 8 games on the offensive side of the ball. So it can be done, but no, that's a great option to have and a great problem to have if you're trying to decide where you're going to put Travis Hunter.
Well, last night, Shedeur Sanders, that was the big story right outside of Dallas, Texas. That's where his family and friends had gathered watching the draft last evening. Matter of fact, if you saw some social media posts earlier in the week, they had special areas of the house that was designed. I think he had a whole hat rack, did he not? It was like a really nice wood hat rack that had been
his draft
designed.
His draft night set was great.
That was fantastic.
So we're in was that in Texas?
Yeah, it's right outside Dallas. It's between Longview, Texas, which is closer to Texarkana, and it's about halfway between Longview and Dallas.
And that was that Deion's house?
I suppose
he just
this is, I guess, the house that he never got rid of once he moved to Colorado.
It was nice. It was a good setup. But then you had the awkward moment where they have the camera shot of Shedeur and he's trying to talk to his friends and he's got his phone. And I'm sure that they're asking questions and he's trying to answer them. That's just an awkward moment.
Well, here's what Shedeur Sanders told everybody in the room last night once the first round was over.
We all didn't expect this, of course, but I feel like with God, anything possible, everything possible. I don't feel like this happened, for no reason. All this is, of course, fuel to the fire. And under no circumstance, we all know this shouldn't have happened. But we understand we're on the bigger and better things. Tomorrow's the day. We're going to be happy regardless. Legendary.
Ooh.
That was Shedeur Sanders last night. We all agreed it's not going to be very long tonight before you hear his name mentioned. But that was definitely that dominating storyline that we heard throughout the week that potentially was going to be a problem for Shedeur Sanders, and it came to fruition.
Yeah, it did. I don't want to pick it apart, but if it's God's purpose and plan, and I truly believe that through my faith, then it should have happened. He just followed it up with this shouldn't have happened. Well, it just depends on you. Look, these teams, they're on it too. You get GMs that get fired every single year in the NFL for making bad picks. By the way, did you see the reaction leading up to the draft of Brian Daboll?
Oh yeah.
Or leading up to the pick of Jackson Dart, where he's blowing into his hands.
Yeah.
He's doing a Miyagi rub with his hands, like, oh god, we better get this one right.
Did you hear what Nick Saban said after that?
Oh yeah, about that's how he looked when I told him we're
changing quarterbacks in the national championship game.
Yeah,
He got all excited.
That was a good moment.
That was a good line. That
I thought that Nick Saban, not that he didn't do it last year, but he was even more opinionated last night with a breakdown of some of these guys.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was very interesting, the Georgia players and him giving kind of his analysis of what did he say? He's a guy who's got great ball skills. He's a great athlete. He's just not physical.
Well, you could tell he had talked to Kirby.
Yeah.
And Kirby had given him the 4-1-1
Absolutely.
on everyone. So, but it was a good night. Draft night 1 is in the books. So tonight will be the second round. So we'll see how quickly Shedeur Sanders is off the board, Jalen Milroe, and all that fun stuff. It was a great night for the Southeastern Conference. I know that shocks everyone in our listening audience. The SEC had 15 picks, tying the 2020 NFL draft for the most taken by a conference. How about that? And the SEC had the record back in 2020. The Big Ten had 11. Combined, 26 of the 32 picks last night came from the Big Ten or the SEC.
That's why we get more spots.
Yes. It's the first time in the common draft era that multiple conferences each produced double-digit first-round picks. Pretty amazing. Big 12 and the ACC had 2. The Mountain West and the FCS had 1.
Fight on.
Yeah. So, rich get richer.
Yes, they do.
Yeah. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, Wimp Sanderson is going to join us, former head coach of the Alabama Crimson Tide. We'll talk a little transfer portal with him. Next hour, Barrett Sallee, one of the voices of the Atlanta Braves. He'll be on with us talking about the big trip out west. All that on a very busy Friday. This is Jocks 94.5. Well, the Georgia Bulldogs led all SEC schools last night. Not a big shock in the first round. Well, take that back. Texas also tied them at 3. Always got to get used to Texas being.
Pat, let's let them be in at least 2 seasons under their belts before we officially recognize them.
So Georgia 3, Texas 3, Bama and Ole Miss at 2. Tennessee, Texas A&M, Mizzou, and Kentucky all had 1 apiece. So that's the breakdown of the 15 SEC schools represented last night in the first round of the NFL draft.
Well, as we know, spring weather in Alabama can be really unpredictable, so that's why you need the reliability of a Trane, voted America's most trusted HVAC brand. And right now, you can receive up to a 10-year warranty on parts and labor on select Trane home comfort systems. So to find out more, go and visit Trane.com.
I thought last night, just from 2 of the, hey, you just got drafted, you're on stage, pull them aside interviews, just from what I was able to gather, the 2 that I would be really excited about, not only from playing ability, but just seem like they're just, not that others aren't, just good people. Will Campbell from LSU.
Oh, yeah. He was very emotional.
Very emotional. You're getting a guy who's just a winner. And then Ashton Genty in his, after being picked by the Raiders. I thought that. By the way, last night's fashion, ties are starting to kind of fade a little bit. And then the eyeglasses, you noticed how many guys were sporting the eyeglasses.
And noticed a lot of people crying too last night.
There was a lot of puffy eyes out there, but happy tears.
I know.
For most.
Alabama had 2 players drafted in night 1. Offensive lineman Tyler Booker goes number 12 to the Dallas Cowboys. He had 970 pass blocking plays at Alabama, allowed 1 sack. His 4-year pay will now be $22.5 million as a Dallas Cowboy. This was the call last night from the Dallas Cowboys war room to Tyler Booker.
Hello?
Mr. Booker?
Yes, sir.
Got somebody who wants to talk to you. Hold on.
Who is it?
Hey, this is Jerry Jones with the Cowboys. We're turning you in.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations, boy. We're glad to have you as a Cowboy.
I'm glad to be a Cowboy. I'm glad to keep this O-line tradition. Thank you.
Okay, well, man, listen. But here's your
Will
coach.
do.
Here's your head coach.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Tyler, Coach Shoddy, man.
What's going on,
Hey,
Coach?
man. Hey, listen, you blew us away in the process, brother. Just here's what we need. You just come here, be you. You kick ass. Welcome to the family. We are so excited. We just want that same dude every day.
Yes, sir. You're going to get as long as you can listen to that Whitney Houston you was listening to that day.
Yeah, hey, ain't no doubt about that, man. Hey, I want you to talk to our offensive coordinator.
Yes, sir.
So fired up. You're a Cowboy, baby.
Yes, sir.
Look, what's up, man?
What's going on?
Congratulations, brother.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm so excited.
I am so freaking fired up that you're coming, man. How about them Cowboys?
How about them Cowboys? How about them Cowboys?
Let's go. Let's move the freaking line of scrimmage now, huh?
Let's do it.
I'm an old offensive lineman, believe it or not.
Yeah, I believe it. I believe it.
They always are the best looking, they're the smartest, and they own the damn team. So that's an offensive
Oh, definitely.
lineman.
Thank you so much. I
Okay.
can't wait to get there and get to work.
All right, sir.
What a great call last night is Tyler Booker. You heard Coach Schottenheimer, the new head coach of the Cowboys. Obviously, front and center was the owner.
Tyler, remember that conversation with Jerry
Yeah.
when your second contract comes up.
Yeah.
And he's trying to shortchange you.
Jerry, you told me that offensive lineman owned the damn team.
Yeah.
Don't you remember telling me
Don't
that?
you pay me like an owner?
Yeah. Jahad Campbell's the other Alabama player taken. You know, he's probably sitting there, and there were some mock drafts that had Jahad Campbell actually going much higher than Booker. And so he's sitting there, and as you're watching
What,
this
like 11, 12, somewhere in that range?
yeah, and you start watching this thing kind of play out, and you're like going, okay, and then you're going, okay, well, you know, the back end of this first round, there's going to be some really good opportunities here from some really good teams. You know, the Chiefs, the Eagles, you know, where's he going to land? And just like most really outstanding defensive players for either Georgia or Alabama, they seem to always end up in Philadelphia. And man, goes number 31 to the Eagles. So he's going to the defending Super Bowl champion. He's going to make $14.8 million over 4 years. Last season at Alabama, 117 total tackles, 54 solo tackles, 11.5 tackles for loss, 5 sacks, 1 interception.
And that's not by mistake that these organizations keep going back to the well. They know what they're getting. They know the kind of program that these guys, with already having examples on their team and examples that have flourished, I think that's a good spot for Jihad Campbell.
Oh, it's an outstanding place for him. I'm just surprised that he was still there.
I am too.
As late as he was, and it was just interesting watching Laura Rutledge interview the family, and just how well spoken. I mean, every single person in that family was, and just talking about Jihad Campbell. It's also cool that he's a New Jersey kid and he gets to play for Philadelphia. So that's pretty cool. The 3-man front Twitter poll question of the day has to do with tonight's second round of the draft, Molly, and it has to do with the quarterback situation. So let people know what the options are, and let's get them to vote.
Yeah, so the options that we gave you were Shedeur, Quinn Ewers, Jalen Milroe, and Tyler Show. And right now, winning the poll is Shedeur with 49%, and we have a tie. Quinn Ewers and Jalen Milroe are tied with 23%.
Wow.
And Tyler is in last with only 5%.
Yeah, Tyler Shuck is one individual that a lot of people, they were giving him a lot of love this week, Louisville quarterback. And so right now, according to our audience, they believe 49% think that Shedeur Sanders will be the first quarterback taken in the second round. I think that's a pretty solid bet. But yeah, Quinn Ewers and Jalen Milroe.
How about that?
That's very interesting from our audience.
Well, if I have the option between those two, I'm taking Jalen Milroe twice.
Well, there's the lottery ticket. I mean, Quinn Ewers had some injury problems.
Mm-hmm.
You can't say that about Jalen Milroe. You can say that Jalen Milroe has problems throwing the intermediate pass.
Okay.
And maybe turnover prone. But my goodness.
Give me Jalen Milroe's wheels and athleticism.
No doubt. So
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll see who wins out when it comes to that. Coach Wim Sanderson, he's going to join us next on the program. We'll get his thoughts if he watched the draft last night. Also, transfer portal news. Rylan Griffin is back in Tuscaloosa today on an official visit. I also talked to someone in Tuscaloosa last night that told me that just pump the brakes a little bit, that Philon may be coming back. Now, they've got 3 roster spots. So what if Philon comes back, Griffin comes back,
and Chad Baker-Mazar?
I have not heard Chad Baker-Mazar's name in
Tuscaloosa.
I think Conrad, kind of poo-pooed that idea. I mean, he told Alabama he was going to pull his funding if Chad Baker-Mazar.
I know he's graduated, but have Chris Youngblood host him on his visit.
That would be funny. That would be good social media.
That would be
hit
really
right there.
good.
Coach Wim Sanderson's next on this Friday, Jocks 94.5.
10:33, three-man front. We do have the Stallions and the Showboats tonight. Protective Stadium, 7 o'clock the kick. And looking at the latest Vegas line, Pat, Stallions 12-point favorite tonight over the Memphis Showboats with Case Cookus.
Yes. Hopefully the weather will stay away. We'll get a good crowd.
Yeah. How about Mandu in downtown Homewood? You can get into Mandu, feel better about yourself. Now we got the warmer weather. You're going to be wearing less clothes, and why not feel good about yourself? Mandu is electrical, muscle stimulation, fitness. So in layman's terms, they're going to go in. Your first visit is free. They're going to put you in a workout, hook you up to a machine that sends electric pulses to various muscle groups in your body, gets into that deep tissue. And because of that technology that is all FDA approved, 15 minutes is equivalent to 6 to 8 hours in a gym. Mandu in downtown Homewood. Try them out. Your first visit is absolutely free. They'll put you through that 15-minute workout. I can promise you, you're going to get results. MANDUU.com. Tell Paul and the gang that Landrum from Jocks 94.5 sent you.
Each and every Friday, thanks to Crane Works, Coach Wimp Sanderson joins us here on Three Man Front.
Lift it, load it, grade it, grind it, move it, haul it, rig it, dig it, Crane Works, Rental Works, yeah! The big dog's got it.
Wimp Sanderson on Three Man Front is brought to you by Craneworks. Lift it, buy it, rent it. The big dog's got it. And now, Wimp Sanderson.
And the coach, Wimp Sanderson, joining us now on the Higginbotham Hotline. Hey, Coach.
You play those songs a long, long time, so you won't have to hear me talk much.
No. It's because we love Old Blue Eyes. We love that music.
Well,
does Coach have blue eyes?
Yeah.
I know you too. Does Coach have blue eyes too?
Frank Sinatra.
You got brown.
You know how to make money?
Please tell us. We need some.
Okay. What you need to do is, those porta potties that way you could put in a quarter to go to the potty.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Put it out there where that 250,000 people were last night at Green Bay.
You ain't kidding.
Have you thought about everybody there had to go to the bathroom?
Oh, I'd have gotten arrested.
Can you imagine the people that were dying to go to the bathroom doing all that?
Well, hey, Coach, it's so funny that you mentioned that because we actually had this conversation last night at Trim Tab. Yeah, and the reason why is because I didn't realize this till a couple of years ago, is that, the ball drop in Manhattan, Times Square.
Yeah.
How many people, because they have to go camp out like all day long to get their spot and then wait till midnight to see the ball drop, that many of them were wearing diapers and adult things just because they do not want to leave their position. And I mentioned to a guy sitting next to me last night, I said, I wonder if they're doing just like the folks in New York do, as they're sitting there watching.
But to be fair, guys, if anybody pees in Times Square, is that big of a deal?
No, I mean nobody knows what's going on.
Well, it's not. If you go to the porta, you couldn't find your way back. You wouldn't know how to get back to where you were.
No,
you have no idea. Now, if you, I've already told y'all on this show, I think, if you go to a football game and you have to go real bad, the best way to do it is to go in the outdoor, not go in the indoor. You go in the outdoor. Always, if you need to go to the bathroom, go in the outdoor.
Yep. Oh, that's a good point.
Oh, it's a great point. Y'all not responding, but I'm telling you right now, I told you something.
No, my mind is blown. That's such a great concept. I can't believe that I had not thought of that.
All these other saps are lined up for a mile.
You never get in line to go in the indoor. You slip in the outdoor. Ain't no line.
I thought you were about to tell us a souvenir cup and a blanket, but never mind.
There ain't no line in the outdoor.
No.
You two guys, y'all need some work.
We're going to take you to our next games. You show us how to do it.
Y'all need some. I don't know if you go to, you probably got a private place that you go. Y'all big dogs.
All right, well, hold on. This is an interesting conversation. I can't believe we're going down this road, but I have to ask you this because I'll never forget that Pat Dye told a story years ago. How he was they were playing the University of Texas in Austin, and he had to go to the bathroom really, really bad. And so he was waiting for the best opportunity in the middle of the half. I mean, he was going to have to go to the locker room. And so I can't remember. I don't know if it was Bo or somebody else, but someone had a long touchdown run. and he started running down the sideline like he was following Bo down the sideline to the end
He was going
zone.
to the bathroom.
And he kept running because he knew that nobody in the stadium or nobody would realize that Pat Dye was not on the field because everybody was celebrating the long touchdown by Bo Jackson. So my question is, have you ever had a situation like that, Coach, when you were coaching that you had to take a personal timeout and walk off the floor and go to the facilities?
No, I don't think I have, but it's been close.
Okay.
It's been close because I was always up and running and jumping and griping and complaining and getting to the edge of the box where they try to call it technical only. It got close with me, but I don't think I ever got one. I did one time when I was assistant coach. The official ran by me, and I thought he just made a bad call, and this is not the same thing. And I threw my hands up, and I had on a big championship ring, and I hit him right in the eye.
Oh.
The official right in the cotton picking eye.
Did you get teed up?
And he went to the end. He was holding his eye. No, and he was holding his eye, and I'm thinking to myself, Lord have mercy. I can't remember if he called technical on me or not. I can't remember. I was assistant coach. I don't remember what he did. My memory's not good. I'm older than dirt. I can't remember all that. I don't know what you can talk about whether how come
Sanders
Sand didn't get in. I don't know if y'all already talked about it. I'm sure. I meant to listen this morning. I got tied up.
No, it's okay. I mean, what's your thoughts when you watched him play?
I
you
think
think he's a first rounder?
I think the coaches think they'd get fired if they didn't play him. And when the Steelers passed him up, and I thought they needed somebody. I think they were afraid of his daddy. I think his daddy, can get your job and he can complain all the time, and it ain't no fun. Now, if he's good enough, and he'll be good enough tonight because they've got 2 more rounds to go. But it was a little bit of a surprise. I don't have the answers to why that happened, but I think his daddy might have had a little bit to do with it. What did your listeners say?
They're split on it. Some don't think he was worthy of a first round pick, but I kind of go, and it's just a theory, and nobody's going to admit it, Coach. But I believe I agree with you. I think that with Deion being his dad, with Deion being who he is, and having that platform and having a voice, a lot more people are going to listen to his criticism than they are Jackson Dart's dad and mom.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Yeah, and Deion, Colorado I had a son that coached at Colorado, and they didn't have enough certified football games back when he was coach assistant basketball coach there. So, they piled in the money, boy, from outside interest because of being the first minority with a big name and having great ability to catch people, intertwine with people. They've made a pile of money, y'all. I mean, they've loaded the wagon. So they know what's going on out there. But anyway, I thought maybe the quarterback situation, just 2 of them picked Cam and I don't know whether that's, I don't know what y'all said about that, or if you said anything. I thought Brooker going to the Cowboys was great.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he ran down the hall better than anybody, and he had a lot of interest, a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of I can't wait to play kind of stuff, which the Cowboys need. I think they've been going south a little bit, so we'll see. I don't know what questions y'all got.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about the transfer portal because there was a published story yesterday afternoon that Rylan Griffin, who left Alabama for Kansas, is going to be back on campus today visiting. Have you heard anything more about that, and what's your feelings on the potential of a reunion with Rylan Griffin?
Well, I think that's fine. I think they're going to need a penetrating. They're going to need a penetrating guard. He's not one. He's a shooting guard. I think if you're able to get him and you want him back, you don't announce it. And the reason for that is they're trying to get that kid from up in Washington. I can't think of his name, who's supposed to be really good. They're trying to get him, so why announce it? If that kid is coming back, you don't want to run off anybody else. So I think that's the deal right there. I think it's okay for him to. He was a good shooter for Alabama. Made some big shots. Whatever happened to Kansas, I have no idea. Maybe, and I thought that he left Alabama because he didn't think he had enough playing time, and I think he probably even had less at Kansas. But I think it's okay for him to come back if he's the right kind of person. And undoubtedly, they know what they want. They've done a good job of getting people when they lose people. It's not easy to do. It's a little bit easier to get them if you got the pocketbook to get them. I think to answer that question, I think it's okay.
How tough is it for these coaches that have to, in some cases, start over, and you got a fresh starting five that have to get acclimated that you're bringing in through the portal?
Yeah, say that to me again. I'm sorry.
How tough is it for the coaches that have to continually replace? We saw Cal
I
do
think
it
it's
before the portal.
it's somewhat tough. I think it's you guys got to get them on the same page and get them to understand things. And some of these guys you get are as good or better than you thought they were, and some of them are not as good. I thought Auburn did a really good job of last year of getting guys, a year before, whenever. Of getting guys that they didn't knock your socks off, but they ended up being guys that fit together well. Denver and them all, Denver guarded people, and they had good shooters. I think you've got to get a penetrating guard some with your guard, because I think the lob pass. When I had Derek McKee, you guys probably don't even remember Derek McKee.
Derek McKee was awesome.
He was incredible.
Okay, and I had the guards that I have. We started, and they did it on their own. We started throwing the lob pass to Derek a lot. And the lob pass from my little guard, I got gone blank, but anyway, throwing the lob pass to him just was, and the more we threw it, the better it got. And I think penetrating guards not only make somebody else have to guard, if they get by you and somebody comes over to help, that gives up the 3-point shot, or they throw the lob pass to the backside. And the lob pass is as long as you shoot around the basket and use the glass. And for daddies that listen to this show, the glass, I say this all the time, is your friend. You shoot at the rim, it's not near as easy to make the shot as the glass. You use the backboard. The backboard's your friend. I always, if a guy played for me, I'm jumping everywhere today, but if a guy played for me and he tried to be cute with the dunk and missed it, his little fanny was on the bench every time. And if you did it in practice, Robert Ory, I don't care who it was, you went to the top of Coleman Coliseum twice and back. That's a long trip. And I don't mind a guy dunking the basketball. I don't know why I'm getting off on this, but I want a guy to make it around the basket, and I don't want him to fancy it up. That's my biggest problem in coaching, is to see guys try to fancy it up and miss it. I didn't get that basketball all the way down there to the goal for you to miss it. I got it down there for you to use the glass and make it. So I don't know. I guess people really talk about the draft and that what I think about that. But it'll be interesting to see in these 2 rounds today exactly what happens. I guess Campbell going to the Eagles was good. He's a good player, and I don't know what else I've talked about, because I always listen to you, but I hadn't had a chance to today. Hadn't had.
No, Coach, we've just basically just touched on the draft and a lot of things that we talked about with you. We are short on time. It's Coach Wimp Sanderson. He joins us every single Friday. And, Coach, you are presented by our friends.
I get run off before I get started, okay?
No.
I'm ready to go to Craneworks. You ready for Craneworks?
Yes, sir. Always.
Okay, David Upton. Craneworks says 2.5 tons to 5 tons. They'll come in and tear it down, put it back up. They have operators who handle the riggers, and they'll do a good job with it for you. They're located in Birmingham, Nashville, Mobile, Huntsville. Visit craneworks.com on the internet. Go to RentalWorks, and RentalWorks is absolutely a place where you can rent the machinery, and along with that, they'll bring the operators in to show you how to rent it. So you'll save yourself some money, but you'll also get some help. So David does a good job. Appreciate you guys having me on. Short period today. That's okay. Talk to you later.
You're the best, Coach. Thank you.
Thanks, Coach.
All right.
Appreciate it very much. Coach Wim Sanderson joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. You deserve solutions that are built for you. Higginbotham is your one-source solution for insurance, financial, and HR services. More three-man front on this very busy Friday. Jocks 94.5. Always appreciate Wimp Sanderson joins us each and every Friday, brought to you by Craneworks. You know, now's the time to check out Courtesy GMC and Trustful. This weekend would be a perfect time for you to do so. The very best in the inventory and service is found right there off of I-459 exit 32 at Courtesy GMC. Right now, you can save up to $14,500 off on a brand new Sierra 1500 truck, the 2024 GMC Hummer EV, and the 2024 Sierra EV models. You can get those now 0% APR for 60 months for well-qualified buyers. The inventory at Courtesy, it's outstanding with plenty of models to choose from, whether it's the Yukon, Acadia, Terrain, trucks like the Sierra and the Canyon, and their pre-owned inventory is the deepest you're going to find anywhere in central Alabama. Get by and see them off of I-459 in Trustful exit 32 or check out their inventory at courtesybirmingham.com.
I've been talking about the NFL draft, a little transfer. Speaking of the transfer portal, this comes from the football side of things. Pat, Tulane quarterback TJ Finley has entered the NCAA transfer portal, per our friend Pete Nakos.
Very shocked.
Yep. He committed to Tulane in December after spending one season at Western Kentucky. Prior to that, he was at a Texas school. Prior to that, he was at Auburn. Prior to that, he was at LSU. But if you've never listened to the show, it's Pat Smith's favorite college quarterback ever.
The worst one ever.
I think maybe the pending legal situation that he has, I don't think that's been cleared up quite yet.
He was suspended indefinitely earlier this month.
But is this a record? This will be a sixth college.
Well, if somebody picks him up.
If somebody picks him up. But if they do.
Somebody will pick him up.
This will be his sixth school, right? That's got to be a record.
That might be a record, Molly.
I think it is.
A modern record.
Let's see. LSU.
Auburn, Texas State,
Texas
Western
State.
Kentucky, and Tulane. So this will be number 6.
Can we think of a good landing spot? How about quarterback depth for Coach Heupel? No.
I mean, there'll be somebody like I don't know. I'm just throwing it out here. Arkansas State.
Yeah.
Somebody like that.
You're replacing 6'6" Nico with 6'6" TJ. Not the same.
No. Also from the transfer portal, Auburn offensive lineman Jaden Muskrat. He has entered the NCAA transfer portal. He's a junior offensive lineman. He was Auburn's backup left tackle last year. He had come to Auburn from Tulsa, so he has decided to move along. He is in the transfer portal from Auburn.
Yeah. He came over with Dylan Wade, his teammate from Tulsa. And they had familiarity with Auburn's former offensive coordinator, Philip Montgomery, who is now he's with our Birmingham Stallions still, right?
Good question. Alabama gets a tight end from the portal yesterday. That's their second one this week. Former Troy tight end Brody Dalton has committed to Alabama, 6'5", 250-plus pounder. He has 1 year of eligibility remaining. He joins West Virginia tight end Jack Samarco, who joined the Tide earlier this week. Rodney Orr, who joined the show yesterday, he kind of played that out for us, that was the likelihood of happening in regards to Alabama grabbing another tight end.
Philip Montgomery is the recently named offensive coordinator at Virginia Tech. He was with the Stallions last year. So, cleaning that up.
Okay.
Hope he does better than Loeffler did when he was there.
And Loeffler is now in the NFL. He's like an assistant coach in the NFL. He leaves the head coaching job at Bowling Green, where he actually had turned it around the last couple of years.
As much as we pooed on Loeffler, and some of it rightfully so, just going back to his days at Auburn as an offensive coordinator and then Virginia Tech, what he did with Bowling Green is actually pretty amazing.
No, I mean, it really is. And we used to have fun with Loeffler because remind everybody, Landrum, the story about the spring game.
Yeah, after he left to Auburn, he went to Virginia Tech, and he was the offensive coordinator there, and they did not have a first down.
In a spring game. In a scrimmage.
Not one.
Against your own team.
With your own officials. Like, you can't even eye the spot and be like, you know what? Move the chains. It's a first down. No.
Or a phantom holding penalty on the defense, and your offense gets a first down penalty.
Not one.
That's
you think it ever hit them at the end of that spring game where he's like, it just dawned on me, I don't think we've gotten a first down today.
Obviously, it did not derail his career path.
So if you aspire to be an offensive coordinator in Power 4 football, there's still hope.
No doubt.
You have examples like that.
All right, Chris Sale's on the bump tonight out in the desert. Barrett Sallee from the Braves Radio Network will join us next. Talk about the Braves. Great homestand wrapped up as they swept the Twins and took 2 of 3 from the Cardinals. 7:25 pregame tonight over on Jox 3 AM 690. Barrett Sallee is next. It is 11 o'clock, Jocks 94.5. We're going to catch up with Barrett Sallee next week. He normally joins us on Friday. He's getting ready for the big series this weekend in the desert against the Diamondbacks. So we'll see if the Braves can continue their winning ways that they established earlier this week. The road has been the issue for the Braves. So we'll see if the Braves can take a couple against the very good Snakes team.
Road has been an issue for a lot of teams. What was the stat that you threw out there? It's projected
40 right now. 40% of road teams. That's their winning percentage on the road so far.
Barrett helping out with his kids' field day at school, which golly, I remember that the field day this time. It seems like it was usually later for us. We would actually get into the month of May. But man, that was fun.
I used to love field day.
Yeah, that was an elementary school. Mm-hmm. Everything was, all the hay was in the barn.
It was
at
the
that
best
point.
day of school.
Oh,
no doubt.
Let's go out there. You compete against other classes. You had Red Rover. I think that they outlawed that because that was essentially you get kids getting clotheslined, trying to run through the linked arms.
As we know, Conrad had to go and punch ant beds.
Yeah.
So
we had cakewalks, which I don't know why we had cakewalks, but we did. Mm-hmm. Like you couldn't take your cake back.
No.
It never really interested me. I didn't like sweets. Something that does, though, is our friends at Rambler Sports Bar and Grill. That is a great place. If you want to watch round 2 of the NFL draft, if you want to get in and get ready to giddy up with the Stallions taking on the Showboats tonight, you can do it at Rambler Sports Bar and Grill. But you can also swing in for lunch. The doors are open right now. You can call ahead, and they're going to have your food ready for you, guaranteed. Free parking is available. The 283-inch high-definition projector screen, all the video boards you're going to find throughout. It's Rambler Sports Bar and Grill, an upscale sports bar experience, open for lunch and dinner all the way through Sunday night. Rambler Sports Bar and Grill, 1630 2nd Avenue South, near Railroad Park.
So last night in the draft, Cam Ward, he went first to the Tennessee Titans. No big surprise there. But then pick number 2, the youngest general manager in the NFL, 34-year-old Jeff Gladstone, made the bold move of the night as the Jacksonville Jags decided to trade a bunch of picks to get up to number 2, and they gave away a bunch of assets with the Cleveland Browns so that they could take Travis Hunter. And God bless Travis Hunter because he will not have to endure Cleveland, Ohio. So,
yeah.
Duval County.
And he's from Florida.
Yes.
So that works perfectly.
Yep. He originally committed to Florida State, I believe, back in the day, and then he decommitted and then ended up going to Jackson State and then followed Coach Prime to Colorado.
You got a ton of fan support. You got a beautiful city that you're going to be able to play in.
Aren't they getting a new stadium?
Yeah.
They're refurbishing their stadium.
Gotcha. Okay.
Well, it'll be new to them. And you've got a young head coach. Mm-hmm. It seems like that would be a fun culture to play in.
And hats off to the 34-year-old general manager because he's like going, first off, you're hired to be fired, whether you're a head coach or a general manager, especially in the National Football League. So he's like, you know what? We're going to be bold. We're going to do stuff. And that's what he did. So they went and grabbed Travis Hunter. You had Abdul Carter to the Giants. No big surprise. Will Campbell, a very emotional Will Campbell, the former LSU offensive lineman. He goes to the Patriots.
That's such a good fit for him.
It is. Mason Graham, he goes to the Browns. That was originally the Jags location. Ashton Genty is now the second highest paid running back in the National Football League. Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
Behind Saquon Barkley. That's nuts.
I love listening to him. Just seems like a solid individual to put a lot of money in.
At number 9, where a lot of people thought it was going to possibly be Jackson Dart for the Saints, ended up being Kelvin Banks. So that was an interesting pick. I know Chris, who was there at Trim Tab last night, he was not very happy with that pick. Tyler Booker went 12 to the Cowboys, just looking down the list. Then you, of course, had the big one, Jackson Dart at 25. That was a trade between the Texans and the Giants. He now goes to Gotham. And it's interesting, Molly, because was it the SEC Network that tweeted out the picture?
Yeah, they tweeted out a picture that said the last time the Giants drafted a quarterback, and it was Eli Manning. But I don't think that they drafted him.
Yeah, they were trying to draw the comparison. The last time they drafted a quarterback was an Ole Miss quarterback.
That's what it was, an Ole Miss quarterback, yeah.
And if you remember back in the 2004 draft, the Chargers actually...
It wasn't the Giants.
Yeah, the Chargers drafted Manning after the Manning family said, do not draft our kid. and they drafted him. The Giants actually drafted Phillip Rivers from Athens, Alabama.
Yep.
And then they traded. And then, of course, obviously, he had a wonderful career out west, and now he's a very popular coach. And I understand that his son is going to be one of the top recruits in high school football in the state of Alabama.
Stats-wise, well, Eli got 2 Super Bowls, but stats-wise, look pretty even, or maybe you give the edge to Phillip Rivers in that trade. Or
he was more prolific.
The Chargers.
Throwing the football, without a doubt.
I found the post. Yeah, the last time the Giants drafted a quarterback from Ole Miss, and all the comments are just
slamming the SEC network.
Slamming them.
Yeah, there's some producer, some technical person there that posted that is probably in some trouble.
Probably. They got community noted too.
Yeah, some Twitter community noted.
Yeah.
Ooh, you don't lose your job for that, right?
No.
Or does that just go in your file?
Yeah, I mean that's a major screw up there. I mean, if you're over social, I mean, it would be the equivalent of you coming on here and say Bill Curry was the head football coach of the 1992 Alabama Crimson Tide, not Gene Stallings.
Well, he was.
I think you'd probably get called in Ryan's office and go, Landrum.
Wasn't it Feinbaum that did that?
Oh yeah, we did that whole summer show.
Yeah,
it was in the middle of the summer. We had nothing going on, and Paul and I came up with the idea of let's have some fun, and we gaslit the audience. I mean, we actually had people calling in the show going, you know what, Paul? I do remember. Yeah, that was Bill Curry. I remember that. I mean, Paul sold it. Paul was like, man, I was there. I was covering the game. I was on the sideline when the clock went to 000, and I remember the team lifting Bill Curry up on their shoulders and carrying him off the field.
Those polyester pants.
I mean, man,
riding up above his calves.
Yeah. Who was the sweater by that you would get at Parisian? You know what I'm talking about? The one that he would always wear.
It looked.
There was a brand. It was a brand name.
Yeah. Oh, gosh.
I know our listeners know what that is.
Yeah, but it looked like something that you would see maybe in a country motif kitchen in a frame that had been crocheted. Like, home is where the heart is, or family. His just said Alabama. But yeah, it was one of those sweaters. Those sweaters, it was not just specific to Bill Curry. Those sweaters.
No, there were a lot of people.
A lot of people had them back then.
Mm-hmm. I just sent it to you, Molly. Tell me what you think.
Oh, I like that. I've seen those. Yeah.
Yep.
Just the way Landrum described it, I don't think that was what I was picturing.
But it had a name. There's a specific name of the sweater. And that's what I'm trying to find. But that's it, which you have pulled up on your screen, Landrum. Because I could remember, I'm not saying that he did commercials for him, but I know that it was something that was.
Was it Cutter and Buck?
I don't think it was Cutter and Buck.
We got people that are throwing that in there.
It may have been.
Here's the problem. You enter a search of Bill Curry and you put designer or manufacturer in there, and apparently there is a Bill Curry lighting and lamps and decorative objects. It's the Bill Curry collection. If you're looking for some fixtures. Oh, look. You got some nice little drawer pulls there.
The rabbit holes you go down over there.
Right? Somebody will text that.
Yeah,
in.
that's going to bother me.
Who made the Bill Curry sweater? Who made the Bill Curry sweater?
That's going to bother me.
And who were the hats that were so popular back then?
Oh, that was the game, was it not?
I think it was the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it had the cursive G.
Yes. And, and if I'm not mistaken, the game is out of either Columbus, Georgia, or somewhere in Georgia.
Those are good looking hats.
Mm-hmm. Very, very good.
And they were all team specific, but it was the same design on the hat, Molly. So you had kind of like a circle, and you had some lines on the top and the bottom, and then you had the name in cursive.
Yeah, they still sell them.
Huh. There they are.
Mm-hmm. Classic look.
Yep. That's the hat that Pat Dye wore on the sidelines.
Sure did. With his tie.
Not the entire time that he was at Auburn, but yeah, with his tie. A lot of coaches did.
Yeah, I'm sitting here looking now. Dylan Cardwell was wearing the game hats this year.
Somebody's saying Saddlebred was the store brand.
Okay.
Yeah, Parisian. I don't know if it was Saddlebred though. I'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you.
After I buy these fixtures.
205-834-9450. Yeah, it's unfortunately for Bill Curry, that was kind of what he was noted for. But yeah, we had fun that summer. We kind of made everybody think that Bill Curry had won a national championship. He did win a Southeastern Conference title. It was a tie with Auburn and Tennessee. There was no SEC championship game back then. So yeah, there's a 3-way tie when he ended up going to the Sugar Bowl and playing Miami and losing.
Okay, this one is saying that it was originally made by Russell Athletic.
That sweater that you had seen on your computer screen?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I do know this, whether it was Russell, that it was available at Parisian. I do remember that distinctly.
You think you can still get those somewhere?
I don't know. Are you thinking about loading up on some Christmas gifts in the spring?
What if I did that one year? Just go and find just retro clothing to give the Alabama and Auburn fans in my family.
You mean like the old bike athletic shorts for the coaches?
Yes. With the snap buttons.
Mm-hmm. So you'd go the game cap, you'd go Bill Curry sweater and the bike athletic shorts.
And Sansabelt, or Sansabelt polyester pants.
With pony cleats.
With pony cleats. It's a great look if you can pull it off.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure our listeners, Molly's like, her mind's blown. Because
normally this is a filthy Friday. This is a fashion Friday.
It is a fashion Friday.
It is a fashion Friday.
Fashion
We're cleaning
Friday.
things up, Molly.
I like it. And I like those hats, by the way. I recognize the brand. Yeah.
Or the design.
Or the design.
Yeah. Yeah, almost. I mean, every college has those. Well, I saw him kick his hat last night at Trim Tab. Let's go to Chris, who's holding it, 1-800-239-WJOX. He kicked his New Orleans Saints cap across Trim Tab because he was not happy with Kelvin Banks being drafted last night by his New Orleans Saints.
Yeah, that was my finest moment because I love this. I love the Big East. I love the atmosphere. I love me a good old thing, gumbo. I love even the people that speak against you that I love to hear. But God dang it, if Mickey Loomis and Gail Benson are colluding against me when it comes to constantly doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. Think about this. Let's do the math, you guys. You drafted Felice Flogger. Year prior, you drafted Eric McCoy. Well, Brian Parisi. Then before that, you drafted Eric McCoy. Before that, you went and got Peyton Turner. Before that, you went and got Marcus Davenport. Before that, you went and got, offensive tackle being Ardarius Pete. You've been on this same invest into the future mentality for all of 6-something years now. At some point, those investments have to come within the fourth, and you can't constantly invest into something. And now look at you now. How can you invest in more because you're in this salary cap purgatory? And I was fine. It could be Shedeur, Jalen Hurt, Jalen Milroe, but it's more so like don't do the obvious what I expect of you. 1, 2. Malachi Starks is right freaking there. Tell me, guys, am I in the wrong here for just because early in the morning, who was it? Our fellow Saints brethren, John Saber. He had he said don't go for the just because something currently available. Go off based off the current times. My thing is, I look at it like this: if you are, let's say you're a person trying to court someone in a club that night, and you're 0 from 7 from the field. The point of the mission is to seal the deal at the end of the night. You might as well settle with the slump buster that is a quarterback or Malachi Starks being the case instead of just because you're clearly not hitting on nothing. So why do you constantly try the same pickup line, but yeah, you get nothing back from it? Now tell me, what do you guys think?
Well, listen, I was surprised too. I'm not a Saints fan like you are, but I was. I mean, listen, he's a great football player. I was a little bit shocked. And listen, there's still some room here. Would you be happy if they grabbed Jalen Milroe tonight?
I'm fine, but the Shedeur is a foregone conclusion with Cleveland having 2 picks coming up. I'm fine with Jalen Milroe. Even John Seabury, I think he tweeted out saying it'll be a steal if they pick Jalen Milroe. Listen, the point of the matter is you haven't drafted a QB or probably anything else other than Marshawn Lattimore in almost 5 years, and then the last thing you drafted a QB in the first round was Arch Manning back in 1970s or 60s.
Yeah, it was 55 years. It was 55 years ago since the Saints have drafted a quarterback in the first round, and that was Archie Manning.
So now you understand last night what I was saying. You try this. The definition of insanity is to try the same thing over and over again, and don't expect anything different from it. What Mickey Loomis, Gail Benson, roll the freaking dice already.
Well,
either take a crap on the toilet or get off it.
Oh.
That's all.
Thank you, Chris. Very passionate Saints fan.
He was fired up last night.
Yeah, I if you're a Saints fan at this point, are you really surprised? You've had some interesting picks. What was it, the Marcus Davenport year that they got? And they thought that they were totally gonna get somebody else. But it's been a while since you've taken a quarterback in the first round. In fact, Archie Manning was the last time that it happened.
55 years ago.
Yeah, that trend continues.
Isn't that crazy?
I know.
I mean, just within one of those 55 years previously, was there not somebody that you thought was worthy of picking in the first round?
What was wild last night when they were honoring who just recently passed, Steve Mongo McMichael, when they said that he was drafted. And they said in a draft, it was 60 years ago. Thinking, what? Where has time gone? By the way, back to the Bill Curry sweater.
Yes,
my buddy Nick texted into the show, and he said it was Cliff Ingle.
That's right.
The Cliff Ingle line. And right now, Pat, you're kind of hot on eBay right now.
I'm very hot. I am every time I'm turning around, I'm winning auction after auction.
You can get a Cliff Ingle UCLA sweater.
Yes.
Which actually is a pretty good looking sweater.
I'm going to buy one for Nico's dad.
Get one for Nick. Now remember,
Nick's a big fella.
Nick's a big fella.
Yeah, I might have to buy a couple and have somebody sew it together.
I will say, I'm on eBay too. There's a ton of Bears ones. The
because
Chicago Bears.
Mike Ditka.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And
Gus Malzahn
all
actually
of them are
had,
Bears sweaters.
Had a version of that he wore.
Sweater vest, right?
For the Auburn National Championship game against Florida State. If you remember that, he kind of broke that one out. He had not been wearing it all season. But yeah, a lot of text coming in. Another text comes in from one of our listeners that says, that sweater was made by Cliff Ingle. My husband still has one.
That's
Laughing,
awesome.
crying emoji.
I just distinctly remember going to Parisian, and they had a whole section of those sweaters that was for sale. But for the life of me, I could not remember. I thought it was named after an individual, but I could not remember. And obviously, it was Cliff Ingle.
Parisian, man.
Those were the days.
Spent a lot of time there in my childhood. Told you my mom used to rope us in, me and my sister, into those fashion shows.
Yeah, because you were a model. You were like Mac Jones.
I was a child model. I was a child model.
Yes.
That's right. I never got royalties. Maybe we got free clothes.
You're still bitter about that.
Oh, I am. There was a lot of compromising outfits that they put me in.
Whoa.
Well, I say compromising. It's just these are baby clothes, Mom. No, they're not. Put them on. Oshkosh bagosh, a little matching ball hat.
Garanimals.
Stupid sandals.
Garanimals? Do you have any Garanimals?
It's the last time I ever wore sandals. I was 3.
Termite control and extermination, mosquitoes, common house pests, animal removal and control. Since 1977, Alabama Professional Services, they've helped the homeowners solve the most challenging insect, pest, and rodent problems, from targeted pest control for termites, rodents, and more to prevention and protection. APS can help you today. Proudly serving Birmingham, Huntsville, and Montgomery. Schedule a free estimate today. The number is 205-951-9717. Or go to their website, alabamaprofessional.com.
Keep the text rolling in, 205-834-9450. More that we'll get into with the NFL draft last night. And transfer portal murmurings still going on. 3-man front jocks on 845.
11:24, Jocks 94.5 on this Friday. Kind of wide open today. You want to talk a little draft, transfer portal, all the fun stuff we've been talking about. Bill Curry's sweater back in the old days at Alabama. You can call us at 1-800-239-WJOX. The Courtesy GMC text line, many of you are texting in as we speak at 205-834-9450.
Well, if you're looking for a place to catch the rest of the draft, the NHL playoffs, the NBA playoffs, or some Major League Baseball, you need to go and check out Big Whiskeys because they have several big screens in their bar with unique cocktails and over 120 whiskeys on tap. Plus, this time of year, you can go out, you can enjoy the outdoor patio in their game area. It's great for families, and the kids get to eat free on Tuesday. So go check them out in the Stadium Trace Village off Highway 150 near the Hoover Met.
All right, so if I were to ask the two of you, out of all the players that were drafted last night, how many 5-stars coming out of high school? Because we know that Cam Ward was a 0. He was a nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Rags to riches story.
There were...
So out of the 32 that were drafted, I'm going to go ahead and give you the hint. Obviously, one was not ranked or rated at all.
Right.
And that was Cam Ward, who went number 1.
I'll say 5.
5 stars. That's your prediction.
Mm-hmm. I was going to say 5 too. I'll go 6.
11.
Oh.
Okay.
11 5-stars were drafted last night.
So a third of the draft.
It's pretty good.
Field.
15 4-stars.
Okay.
All right. We're at 25.
4 3-stars.
29.
And then 2 was not rated. So blue chip recruits accounted for 81.3% of the players drafted last night. So it's a pretty good mark.
Yeah. And it turns out they got it right with Travis Hunter being the best overall recruit coming out of high school.
Mm-hmm. They did.
Feel like they nailed that one.
And he was the recruit that got the whole conversation going when Nick Saban made headlines at the club. Because he was referencing the fact that Travis Hunter, who's like the top recruit in all of college football, had decided to go to Jackson State. That was his shot at Coach Prime.
Yeah.
How
wasn't it over Florida State?
That he had spurned Florida State, and Alabama obviously wanted him, just like a bunch of other schools. So that's what got Coach Prime ticked off at Coach Saban. And in that same diatribe is when Saban decided to throw the Molotov cocktail to College Station, Texas, and Jimbo Fisher.
Oh, yeah.
That's when all that fun started. So, yeah, I just found that interesting. 11 5-stars drafted last night. 15 4-stars, 4 3-stars, and 2 did not show up on any board anywhere, including the number 1 overall pick, which is amazing in its own right.
What did you think about the overall production of the draft? I thought it was good.
I thought it was good. I'll be honest with you. I think it's nice that they gave Green Bay the opportunity to do this. But based on what Nashville did, based on what Detroit did, I think they've taken a step backwards.
Well, okay.
I mean, the main reason why
infrastructure-wise?
Well, again, the production value of what you see and the behind the scenes, it looks like they were at a rooms to go, waiting for their names to be called in the back, or a Persian carpet place or whatever, just the way it looked. But it just, seeing all those people just standing out in the middle of a parking lot, at least in Detroit, you're in downtown Detroit. You've got, the ambiance of a downtown. Needless to say, we're in Nashville and you got Broadway and you got 500,000 people down there. I mean, it just feels like an event. It just seems like all these people were bussed in and they were told, okay, just like go stand in front of the stage.
But I think it's awesome that the NFL was open because of that city and the tradition to doing it.
I'm all for it. I'm just saying, you asked me a question about the production element, and from a production standpoint, I think they've taken a step backwards by doing it in Green Bay because it just doesn't have the same
and having been there, there's really only so much that you can do. I was telling you during the break, I don't know where all of those people stayed.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they're staying in Milwaukee or
because
somewhere else.
You've got Lambeau Field, you've got Titletown, and there are things to do. We went and did like a virtual golf thing while we were there, and there's all kinds of stuff right there. But other than that, then you have neighborhoods. And then you have some mom and pop stores and some businesses. But there's one hotel that I can remember seeing in the skyline. I know they have more than one hotel, but there's not a whole lot of options. Just for them to pull it off, I thought riding the bicycles out on the stage, that was a nice tribute to the tradition that they have for their players during training camp. Clay Matthews, that was kudos.
That was funny. That was
kudos.
Good. That was good.
That was really good. Notice you go back and you play it, and he's apologizing to Roger Goodell as he's done that.
What was Roger? Again, we were at Trim Tab, so we were, being able to kind of hear and kind of see certain things. Did it look like Roger Goodell took it in stride?
I think he did. It was obvious once he completed it and he showed the Bears still suck, that it was a joke. It didn't actually come from POTUS. But
do you remember yesterday I was telling you about all the logistics that goes on between the time that it's radioed, that the pick is in, and all that?
I was telling my wife about it. She was fascinated by that.
So Hastings last night at Trim Tab, he literally was timing.
Was he?
He was timing and trying to come up with a number of how long it was taking them, for the jersey to actually get out there.
I like the run out that they do. I thought Tyler Booker, he slapped that Cowboy star, didn't he?
He sure did.
But the hat cam, I like the hat cam.
I like that too.
They also said that this morning I was watching the NFL Network and they were belly aching because the NFL is such a tight run organization that they were actually behind schedule after the national anthem. So there were certain things like time posts that they were supposed to hit, and then the national anthem was supposed to be played, and then they were supposed to have X number of minutes before this. And for whatever reason, the national anthem it wasn't the people performing the national anthem's fault, but it was something leading up to the national anthem that literally caused them to be seconds behind schedule, not minutes, but seconds behind schedule. And it had irritated all the NFL people that they were off by seconds.
Another part of the broadcast that maybe they've done this in years past, and you would have to tell me, but when they had the schedule announcement where it was Laura Rutledge and the other lady that came out
from the NFL Network.
Yeah, and you're asking, and they did fine, but you're asking them at an awkward time during the middle of a draft, and you're going to pause it to go and make the announcement and have, some one-liners and things like that. I don't know how else you would do that, but it was kind of awkwardly placed.
Yeah, that was Colin Wolfe, who's one of the announcers for the NFL Network. And when I saw them come out on stage together, you know what I thought they were going to announce? No lie. Because the rumors are abound that Disney is buying the NFL Network.
Yeah.
And with Laura out there,
out
there,
I thought it was going to be something else.
There's going to be here we go. We're about to get an announcement that, the NFL Network has now been purchased by Disney, and we're all one big happy family now, or whatever the case.
Yeah, and there was no real build up, and then they just kind of turned around. And they said, "All right, we're going to get it May 15th or whatever," and it was just I don't know. You could tell that. Again, they were doing what they were asked to do. It's just it was an awkward time to put them there. But I guess now we know when the schedule is going to be released, as if we wouldn't have known.
More of your calls at 1-800-239-WJOX, the Courtesy GMC text line 205-834-9450. So the spring window for the transfer portal, it officially opened up last Wednesday. It's going to run through next Friday, April the 25th. Now, this is just a window for the players to place their names into the portal. They do not have to be committed and signed with a school by the time the window closes, but you have to have your paperwork in. Now, basketball's window, that has closed. But football, you've got until Friday, April the 25th, which is obviously, today. Auburn tight end Rico Walker. He is expected to enter the transfer portal. Walker appeared in 4 games last season for the Auburn Tigers. He was a transfer from Maryland to fortify their tight end room. So word is from Auburn Undercover that he is going into the transfer portal. Meanwhile, Auburn offensive lineman Jaden Muskrat, he has entered his name in the transfer portal. He's a junior offensive lineman. He was Auburn's backup at left tackle last season. He came from Auburn, from Tulsa, in which his former head coach, Philip Montgomery, was the offensive coordinator a couple years ago for Auburn. And Alabama yesterday got another tight end out of the portal. Former Troy tight end, Brody Dalton, committed to Alabama. He's 6'5", 250 plus.
He was at UAB.
He'll have 1 year remaining.
Started his career at UAB. Remember him wearing the green and gold, and also played at a high school here that you would know very well, Fife. Brody Dalton. So that's good. That's a good pickup for Alabama. He can help them for sure. Some folks that can help you, it's our friends at Dobbs Ford right there on Parkway East. Get in and see the Goshen family and all the wonderful people that work at Dobbs. And right now you're going to get employee pricing just like they do on all makes and models. You can check it out. And on top of that, 90 days. They're going to let you wait 90 days until your first payment. Alabama's largest showroom selection is there at Dobbs Ford. They have a wonderful staff just from the moment that you drive onto the lot. You walk into Alabama's largest showroom selection, or for some reason, if you have to go into the body shop, they have wonderful people in there as well. It's Dobbs Ford, and they practice exactly what they preach. DobbsFordBirmingham.com. DobbsFordBirmingham.com, right there on Parkway East. Make sure you tell the Goshen family and the wonderful people at Dobbs that Landrum from Jock 94.5 sent you.
So Daniel Jeremiah, who is one of the draft experts for the NFL Network, he put out his mock draft, obviously, a couple nights ago. He has listed the 10 possible best players available as round 2 begins. And he's got Shedeur Sanders as the 3rd best player available. Luther Burden, the 3rd, the outstanding wide receiver from the University of Missouri, he is listed as the 8th best available player. Daniel Jeremiah does not have Shedeur Milroe listed in his top 10 available players. And the reason I bring up Luther Burden, there was a lot of mock drafts that had Luther going in the first round. And Molly, he just posted something very interesting. Well, actually, he did it last night, almost 1 a.m. on Instagram.
Yeah, so I think he might have posted a new one, because the original one I saw, it was something about how he wants to show them, like prove them that they're all wrong for not taking him. But he posted a picture of him in the Missouri facilities at 12:52 a.m.
Working out. His helmet's there, his cleats, his gloves, all of his gear. And he wants to prove everyone wrong. And I love it. I think that's great. Yeah, just trying to once again prove to the folks that, hey, listen, I am out here working, and I will work for you 24 hours a day if you will draft me. So we'll see where Luther Burden, I don't think there's any doubt that he will be drafted. I just saw Bovada official. He was listing some odds. And remember our good friend Scattaboo from Arizona State? Right now, the Kansas City Chiefs are the leaders, according to Vegas, to draft Scattaboo. Now, would that not be incredible?
Can we call him Cam or Cameron?
I don't know if he's going by Cam or Cameron. Don't know.
Also, Shedeur Milroe just posted on Instagram.
Is he working out?
What is Jalen?
34 minutes ago, he posted a bunch of pictures from last night at the draft. He said, all the hard times led to this moment. And it's just a bunch of pictures of him in a suit from last night.
I will say this. He was a cheerleader of his teammates.
He was, and it appears he made some new friends during the week of being up there, because he seemed to be involved in a lot of the shots of the guys backstage whose names had been called.
What did you think of his outfit, Molly?
I liked it.
You liked it?
I like seeing all the different suits and the jewelry and the sunglasses.
I felt like we've seen. Was that the same outfit that he wore SEC Media Days?
I don't think so.
Was it not? Oh, yeah, it looked good.
Yeah, I don't think
Seemed
so.
like I'd seen him in
Like
something
I said,
very
it's
similar.
a Fashion Friday.
Not that it's, don't hear me. I know you're not saying it, but it's okay if you want to reuse it for that. But
yeah,
no, he looked good. Not as maybe not as many ties last night as I'm used to seeing, which is okay too.
Well, one thing's for sure, all these guys that's got these big O necks, especially the linemen, they don't want to put a tie on.
No, but maybe a clothing manufacturer, an opportunity there.
Perhaps.
Instead of the clip on, you go with the tearaway tie.
Or just a bolo.
Or a bolo. He's either Booker will wear the bolo.
Or just go with a dickie.
Or a good old dickie.
Good
right?
old dickie. That'd be fine. Let's go to the phones, 1-800-239-WJOX. Bama Hater, what'd you think last night? Your guy went number one.
Hey, so much for that ACC not having no great players, huh? And shout out to the people who give these kids ratings that don't know what they're talking about. A 0 rating and the number 1 pick in the draft. I think Cam will take that. But, hey, man, this is what I want to say about the draft last night. And you guys probably going to laugh because, you know, my radio handle is Bama Hater. But for some strange reason, I thought Mike Tomlin was going to take Milroe last night.
You did? Did you really?
Yeah, I really did. I mean, hey, I don't like Alabama, but you got to give it to Milroe. He's an athlete, and my thinking was if they gave the quarterback Richardson from Florida a chance, I think Richardson and Milroe is the same quarterback. So why not draft Milroe in the first round? They got both the same athleticism. They got big arms, and the intermediate, they're average. So I thought they were the same players, and he would get a shot. But that I was wrong.
So who do you think's most likely to take a chance on Milroe tonight, or do you think he goes in the 3rd or 4th round, or you think he's a 2nd rounder?
I don't think he's gonna slip to the 3rd round.
Okay.
Because of he's too athletic. I think somebody's gonna take a chance on him in the 2nd round, and for some reason, I think Shedeur. I think he's gonna do the same thing that Lamar Jackson did. He's gonna take it on the chin. He's gonna be pissed off that he got picked later than he thought, and I think his numbers are gonna show in his 2nd year or 3rd year of production once he gets that starting job. I just think he's going to have a chip on his shoulder from not, being taken in the 1st round.
Let me ask you this. Do you think how much do you think his father had to do with teams backing off of him? Or you think it was just the luck of the draw?
You can't say it didn't have an impact. I mean, some of these organizations, they thrive on stuff to nitpick about, but that probably has something to do with it. The kid is a winner. You can't take that from him. But just like I told the guys at work, the NFL, the GMs, and the owners, they don't give a heck about what we think of who should be picked where and when, because it's all about what that organization needs at this particular time. If they need a offensive lineman, they're not going to pick Shedeur. If they need a tight end, they're not going to pick Jetty. They're going to pick what they need. And that's what they did last night.
Totally agree. But you're right, Bama Hater, no organization's ever going to admit it. Maybe you have somebody off the record that says, yeah, we didn't want to deal with the dad. But Deion having the platform that he does, the voice that he has, and the street cred that he has, he's got the change in his pocket. He's done it. More people are going to listen. And some organizations, I feel like if all things are equal, you know what, we'll pass on a quarterback right now.
Yeah, it's kind of like the same thing in basketball. The Ball brothers and their dad.
Yeah.
I think one of those guys could have gone higher than they did. But, it's all good, man. You can't argue with kids that are about to be millionaires. Let them be millionaires, enjoy their life, man, and play the sport that they love.
Yeah.
That's just the bottom line, man.
Yep. Most of them are already millionaires. That's the good news.
Yeah, that's true, too. But, man, it's all good. I enjoyed it, and I got bragging rights on my guy being the number 1 overall pick for the next 12 months, so I'm going to enjoy it.
I hope he does really well. I'm pulling for Cam Ward.
Yeah, I do, too, man. And like I said, man, I think Shedeur he's gonna prove a whole lot of teams wrong that should have taken him in the first round. And once again, before I go, Jerry Jones is probably one of the dumbest owners in sports history. I'm sure he could have got a better pick than he did last night. But that's Jerry Jones, and what else is to be expected?
Hey, Bama Hater, did you see Micah Parsons last night? He kind of looked a little lukewarm on the pick of Tyler Booker, didn't he?
Man, I thought he was going to do 2 flips out of the chair.
Bama Hater, always great to hear from you, man. Hope you're well.
All right.
Take care. Always good to hear from Bama Hater.
Yeah, really good stuff. The text line is open 205-834-9450. We'll get to those texts, more of your phone calls. We continue the Friday edition of 3-Man Front and Jocks 94.5.
$11:51, Jocks 94.5. Appreciate everybody that came out and joined us at Trim Tab last night. Saw Michael and his wife from Golston Tree Service. They were there last night at Trim Tab enjoying the festivities. You need to call Golston Tree Service for all your tree needs. And I'm talking about the big jobs or the small jobs, whether you need things cut out of your hedges or if you have tree removal, stump grinding, all that type fun stuff that you need done around your house. 205-337-4018. That is the number to Golston Tree Service. Family owned and operated for over 35 years. As I mentioned, no job is too big or small for the team there at Golston Tree Service. And the really cool thing about it is that they can come to your house and they can give you a free estimate. They can look at potential problems that you have. They've done it at my parents' house. They've done it to countless people across our listening audience. No strings attached. He'll come to your house. He'll spend as much time as needed. He'll give you your advice. And if there's something that needs to be done, the Golston team can take care of it. 205-337-4018, 24-hour emergency storm work. So if something happens at your house, take advantage of Golston Tree Service, 205-337-4018.
Our buddy Robert is in Greenville. He wants to weigh in, 800-239-WJOX. Hey, Robert, happy Friday.
Happy Friday, y'all. Listen, I just want to say that I think that the Cowboys did the right thing by taking Tyler Booker at left guard. And the reason I say that is because Zach Martin has already retired. I think they traded away Tyler Smith or Tyron Smith to another team, or he's toward close to the end of his career. And also, Brian Schottenheimer wants to run the football with power. He wants some more of a man-blocking scheme. I think that Tyler Booker is a perfect fit. He gave up 0 sacks and 371 Shedeur Milroe pass attempts, in spite of the fact that he was blocking in a new scheme where they want lighter, leaner linemen that can trap, that can pull, that can move on like misdirection plays. And I just think that while I know Dallas needs wide receiver help, and running backs help, I believe they did the right thing by getting Booker. This is not a very deep draft as far as left guard is concerned. And on the Shedeur Sanders not going to Steelers, look, I thought this time yesterday that he was going to Pittsburgh, and then I heard the on the field stuff I'm talking about, like he doesn't have a strong arm. Most of his pass completions were at or behind the line of scrimmage or 5 yards past the line of scrimmage. I also heard that he does not have the strongest arm. He's not very mobile, and I feel like that the Steelers, with getting the kid from Oregon, the defensive tackle, they need an interior type of run stopper and pass rush that takes some of the pressure off of T.J. Watt. And I think the Steelers did the right thing. Now, they do need to address the quarterback situation. I'm aware of that. But there's a group of quarterbacks, once you get past Jalen Milroe and Shedeur Sanders, that are not big-name players in NFL, folks, but college people know about, like Ohio State's quarterback Will Howard or Dylan Gabriel at Oregon or those types of quarterbacks. I just think, day two, I think we're going to see a lot more quarterbacks across the board. I like the idea of Pittsburgh addressing a need because in the AFC North, which is a very physical division with teams like Baltimore and Cincinnati, Cleveland to some degree, Cincinnati wanting to run the ball, you got to have some interior help up front, and you got to get an inside pass rush. And also, I like Jahad Campbell going to Philadelphia. Philadelphia is losing a lot on defense because of free agency, and they had 1 or 2 people retire. This is not a luxury pick. I think it's a need pick for the Eagles because their defense is going to have to be retooled or rebuilt. He's got great lateral movement. He can move sideline to sideline. He had 115 tackles, lead Alabama last year. I just think it's a great pick for Philadelphia.
Good stuff, Robert. Thank you. Robert dialed in, Molly, to the NFL draft.
He did. I like it.
Okay, we got full analysis and breakdown of a lot of different guys. Appreciate the phone call, Robert. 800-239-WJOX. The text line is open, a myriad of topics, but we've really been hitting heavy on last night's NFL draft and then the storylines of Jalen Milroe, Shedeur Sanders. Where do those guys go on day 2? Coming up tonight from Green Bay. And looking at some of the live shots, the weather not too great around there. Maybe the weather's not going to be great around here either. We got Stallions tonight, 7 o'clock kickoff as they host the Memphis Showboats. Jerry from Hayden, maybe NIL Rowe will get drafted by the Savannah Bananas because he surely wasn't first-round material. I'm glad he's gone from Alabama. RTR, the number 4, life, football emoji, and then a 9.
The Savannah Bananas.
Just read them like I see them. More of your texts, some very entertaining texts, and it is a Fashion Friday, as Molly has appropriately termed it. Football fashion from yesteryear. More three-man front. Straight up 12 o'clock here on this Friday. Landrum, Pat, and Molly. Conrad back on Monday. Oh, Sports Talk Radio up in the Northeast. Festive time. And a lot of passionate NFL fans with a reaction from last night's NFL draft. Interesting comments coming in on the text line as well as the phone lines. 205-834-9450, 800-239-WJOX. Our friends at Stark Exterminators want to remind you with the April showers, we might be getting some more today. That brings May flowers. But what does that also bring? Stinging insects, pesky insects like ants, mosquitoes, and other things. You have to give our friends at Stark a call. Whether it's for your home or place of business, home or business pest inspections, free of charge when you give them a call today. 855-STARK now or visit StarkExterminators.com. Family owned for over 61 years. They're going to use the most environmentally friendly and conscious products that are available. That's good news for your family. And that's also good news for your pets, which are part of your family. Give them a call today for the free home or business pest inspection. Call 855-STARK now or visit StarkExterminators.com. And when you do so, always tell them Landrum from Three Man Front and Jocks 94.5 sent you. Pat Smith to my left, for those of you watching on Jocks TV. I thought he was maybe having like some gut rot. And then I thought, well, he's laughing. And then I thought, is he okay? But apparently he was just trying to hear something that was playing through his computer.
That was really funny to watch.
It was funny. I had no idea. And I was trying to keep a straight face.
Well, I was able to capture some audio from WFAN in New York in regards to their feelings on Jack's Jackson Dart being picked by the Giants.
Boy, he had a soiree out there in Utah, didn't he? Did you see the draft party contingent?
I did. So I was just, before I sent this audio to Molly, before we got it on the air, there was something that was said on New York airwaves that I do not believe would play very well in the South.
No.
And I really do like my job, and I like making sure that we all eat and pay our bills. So I want to make sure that
Are you talking about the thing that ended with me off?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the part that I'm about to try to.
Yeah, I would
I'm
do
try
that.
to edit.
That's a It's good.
We'll try to edit that out.
That's good. We don't need that going out.
No. But let's just say, as Landrum mentioned, the passion of the Northeastern sports fan.
Yeah, it's probably not something that I would even use off the air, but yes, the passion of the New York sports fan.
Yeah, they're not. At least this one particular show this morning on WFAN, they were not very happy. And there was a clip going around of John Gruden. Have you seen it, Molly? Where, Gruden's still doing this quarterback meetings with these guys.
Mm-hmm.
And so he got Jackson Dart up in front of the board.
The dry erase.
Yeah. And he asked him, he said, okay, give me, go through your signal calls. And he's standing there and he goes, no. That's your snap. Give me your, and he goes, and John Gruden's like, what are you doing? And then he said, okay. And he says, well, and then we would do this if we wanted to fool the opposition. Clap twice for the snap count.
The genius that is Lane Kiffin.
And so Gruden was just sitting there and he used a couple profanity, just like John Gruden does. And I think that's
I used to do a Gruden.
This is what I think I was listening to, was one of the talk show hosts was referring
to
Gruden, thinking that Jackson Dart's an idiot and that he shouldn't have drafted him.
But if we go back to
try to find that clip, look the Jackson Dart clip.
If we go back to when Lane Kiffin was the offense coordinator at Alabama, it was pretty elementary with at least one of his quarterbacks.
So yeah, the people in New York, they're passionate sports fans, just like we are in the Southeastern Conference when it comes to your college football team.
Do you think that Shedeur Sanders would have gone over better in New York than Jackson Dart going to the Giants?
Yes.
I do too.
I do. Because if you remember...
And I'll be honest with you, Pat, this is not anything, I'm not even trying to have fun. I'm not totally sold on Jackson Dart.
Well, I mean, I'm not either. I'm not sold on any of those quarterbacks.
Up until last year, he had not quarterbacked his team to a win in a meaningful game against elite competition, I didn't think.
There's no doubt that folks would have been more happy if it had been Shedeur Sanders. But did you find it yet, Molly? It's classic. I mean, Gruden is absolutely just dumbfounded. And maybe Jackson Dart didn't understand the question. I'm not saying that Jackson Dart's not smart. It was just the fact that John Gruden was asking for something that he thought he would go into detail about.
Right.
And it was just him doing his. And apparently what we're going to play, hopefully, in the next 10 minutes or so.
What if he was like, hey, hand me the wristband? I can't do it without the wristband.
Coach Gruden?
No, what are you seeing with the defense? I mean, I don't have my wristband.
So you did find it?
Yeah, but I cannot play it.
No. I know you know. I don't want to play it on the air.
I haven't found the clip, but I have found what you were talking about. And I'm trying to find the particular clip.
Does the sentence structure, is it even intact once you start muting it? It's not, is it? It doesn't even make sense.
It's going to be very difficult.
They
a lot
use
of profanity.
Foul words where they shouldn't even use foul words. It's not necessary.
Well, he's a football coach.
I know. Yeah, he's a football coach.
So the clip that we will air probably, hopefully in the next 10 minutes, once I can double check it.
Like I keep toggling through it, and every time I click, it's a new word.
It's a new word.
They get creative.
They do.
And I'm sorry because Molly doesn't know any of those words.
No.
And so it's kind of.
They just learn crap and crud up in Lincoln.
Yeah.
I promise you, they didn't use any of those. They went straight for the jugular.
Yeah. They're not happy with that.
Like, woo.
All right. So speaking of who's happy and who's not happy, okay. So I've already seen some stories come out of who the best picks were and the worst picks. Okay. So according to The Athletic, they did a breakdown of the top 32 picks from last night. For you personally, not saying that you know the personnel of every NFL team, but just as you as a casual consumer of the National Football League, what pick to you that kind of jumped out? Go, you know what? If I was in the room, I probably would have done the same thing. That's pretty cool.
I wrote this down before the show. Obviously, Travis Hunter and the Jags making that move.
I agree.
At number 2.
Yep.
I thought the Packers getting Matthew Golden, the wide receiver, was big. And to go and help the offensive side of the ball.
They haven't drafted a wide receiver since.
Yes.
Yeah.
And playing to the home folks, and you could tell by the elation of the Packers fans that were in attendance. I honestly thought that the Atlanta Falcons actually addressed needs in getting Jalen Walker and James Pierce, 2 SEC guys, a local product in Walker, and being very familiar, but actually addressing needs and needing a pass rush, and doing it with a guy like Walker who he's just they're both freaks.
All right, what about one that just absolutely jumped out and you go, oof, that was bad.
I'll be honest, the Saints pick, I was expecting a little more dazzle. So I can
instead
understand.
of Banks, you thought they might have
Yeah, not that Banks is bad. I thought they would go in another
agree.
direction. Let's see.
So let me tell you. So basically, what The Athletic did is they went and they graded every single pick, letter grade, A+. I think the worst grade was a C-. Okay. So according to this publication, there were 2 picks in the draft that were A+. Atlanta Falcons, Jalen Walker.
Okay, good.
From Georgia. And Gray Zabel to the Seahawks, the North Dakota State
Farmer
center, who shook the hand of Donald Trump a week ago in the White House.
He's got 250 acres that he's farming now.
Yep. According to The Athletic, those were the 2 only A+ picks. Now, there were a lot of other A+ or A picks or B+ or B- picks, but those were the 2 highest rated picks, according to The Athletic, was Jalen Walker to the Falcons, Zabel to the Seahawks.
Okay.
There were 2 picks that they listed as the worst picks, and they gave them C- grades. One of those is the pick that you just mentioned, Landrum, that you thought that New Orleans should have done better at number 9. According to The Athletic, Kelvin Banks Jr., the guard offensive tackle from Texas, going to the Saints was a C-, and that was one of 2 of the lowest graded picks on the board last night. The other was Emeka Egbuka, the wide receiver from Ohio State, going to Tampa Bay. That was a C-. So those were the 2 that The Athletic says those were stinkers, no good. But Walker to the Falcons and Zabel to the Seahawks were the 2 best.
Yeah, so they were kind of white, and not that some of these other picks were bad. It was just kind of what you expected. But I thought that the Saints, I don't know why, for some reason I thought the Saints would have a little bit more splash with their pick. Another one that I wouldn't call that because it remains to be seen, but having the McMillan wide receiver from Arizona go to the Panthers.
Ted McMillan?
Yeah. But I think going into the draft, people thought their needs were on the defensive side of the ball. But you got a guy that you hope can help out your young quarterback and get that offense rolling.
Yep. You get another weapon on the offensive side of the ball to try to help him out. So,
any others that were just a little bit head scratching to you?
I thought some teams on the back end of round one did very, very well, especially from these guys from the SEC.
Yeah. Like your Malachi Starks, your Jahad Campbell.
James Pierce.
Yeah.
To the Falcons.
Yep.
I know Pierce did not quite have the year that many of us anticipated that he would have had last year for Tennessee, but I think that was a really strong pickup. Jahad Campbell to the Eagles, man, that was just, ooh.
What did you think about Walter Nolan?
Good for Walter Nolan.
I think that's good for the Cardinals.
Mm-hmm.
And good for Ole Miss, even though you rented him for a year.
So when you're sitting there looking at the run, I believe it was twice last night in the draft, the SEC went 1, 2, 3 in regards to 3 picks in a row were from the Southeastern Conference. You had 15, 16, and 17 to the SEC. You had 25, 26, and 27 going to the SEC.
But last night was what I thought it would be. Leading up to the draft, it was going to be a night where you didn't have a whole lot of drama.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't have a whole lot of switching and all of that. And we get those kind of drafts sometimes. But from a entertainment standpoint, I still thought it was entertaining. It wasn't like I was ready to turn it off. But a lot of that, too, was intrigue with Shedeur Sanders and also potentially Jalen Milroe.
I haven't seen any updated numbers from a television perspective. They were expecting across all broadcasts, it was going to be about 10 million people. And I have not seen any early numbers coming out from Nielsen on how many people actually tuned in.
Text line is open and active, 205-834-9450. And Drake says, nice pick by my 49ers. Michael Williams, edge from Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
He was excited. Should be. It's a good organization to go and play for. Where is their facility? Is it in Santa Clara?
Maybe, since the stadium's there.
Okay. Back to our Bill Curry sweater manufacturer conversation that we had. Someone was asking, was it Izod? Was it Gucci? No. We actually found out.
Cliff Ingle.
It's Cliff Ingle. And you can actually still find the Cliff Ingle line of collegiate sweaters that'll make you look very collegiate and full of spirit on game day.
I think we need to get Conrad one.
We do. Be honest with you, I'd wear one.
Molly, once we send it to you, have you seen anyone at Nebraska wear those type of sweaters before?
Maybe a couple. Like, there's a couple of vintage shops that sell old Husker gear, and they might have had something like that.
Yeah, going back to being forced to do some 3-year-old modeling at Parisian. Nothing like being dragged around a Moonlight Madness sale at Gaffer's by your mom as a kid. Is Gaffer's department store, is it still open? Have I asked you this on the air before?
If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong. I think Gaffer's ended up being bought by Belk.
By Belk. Because they had a Gaffer's in Montgomery. So my grandmother would go into that store and a couple of others at the mall that had the ice skating rink. For those of you listening on.
I'm sorry,
Jock
Dillard's.
740.
Dillard's bought Gaffer's.
Dillard's bought Gaffer's.
Mm-hmm.
What was the department store that had the bakery? Was it Macy's back in the day or Rich's? Somebody did. And I made the mistake of getting the cheese straws there one time, and they were not the same.
Didn't sit well with you?
No, they were not good.
Molly had some cheese curds last night.
I did. I got him in honor of the draft.
Oh,
in
good
Green
for
Bay.
you.
They
Yeah.
were really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love cheese curds.
Well, I'll stop you up.
I'm okay.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay. How many years has Alabama had a single first-round pick in a row?
17.
I think I heard it was 8 or 9 years in a row. I'm just going to keep reading it.
No,
this is
sorry.
Zach in Huntsville. He took the time to text it. For 2. Who would be the player to carry the torch next year to get drafted from Alabama?
Ooh, first round.
We go offensive line?
Maybe defense. or O-line.
What if Caden Proctor just has an outstanding year?
That would be
He'd be
one.
draft eligible.
Mm-hmm. Thinking of one of those guys transferred in, maybe defense, secondary.
This text reads, is it just me or is it harder to have appreciation for players' humble beginnings when they're wearing a $300,000 wristwatch on draft night? I just assume that they all have a ton of money, but I thought it was nice just to kind of do a refresh on some of the players that were not in attendance with their families from certain homes. And it appeared that, it made me feel really happy for those players that just got drafted, knowing that they can not only improve their personal situation, but also their families. I'll say that. Very modest homes. Now, then you had, on the flip side, Shedeur and his compound that he was having his gala from.
It was a gala.
Yeah, it was.
More of your text and your calls, 1-800-239-WJOX.
Well, it is the final days of the Diamonds Direct annual spring sale, and this is your last chance to get an extra 20% off already re-owned prices. Plus, if you book an appointment, you get an additional $100 off your purchase. But you better hurry in because these savings will end soon. And this weekend only, they're open on Sunday to give you an extra day to shop their expanded collection. And I went in last week and this place is huge. They have thousands of different engagement ring settings, his and her wedding bands, plus tons and tons of must-have fine jewelry. So like I said, time is running out, a 20% off store-wide sale. So go and visit diamondsdirect.com for more information.
Text line is open, 205-834-9450. If you'd like to discuss last night's draft where Shedeur Milroe potentially could end up tonight if he's picked. That's all next on this Friday edition of Three Man Front.
12:23. Landrum, Pat, Molly. Recapping round 1 of the NFL draft. Still on the clock, the likes of Jalen Milroe, Shedeur Sanders, and others as we get ready for round 2 live from Green Bay, Wisconsin coming up tonight. Also coming up tonight, we have Stallions hosting the Showboats. You get that 7 o'clock at Protective Stadium, and some day baseball going on as we got the Phillies taking on the Cubs. The Cubs have been red hot, and luckily the Phillies have not. But the New York Mets seem like they're running away with everything as the Mets are now 18-7 on the season. It looks like the Mets are going to try to run away with it, Pat.
Long season, Landrum.
It is a long season. We get the Braves taking on the Diamondbacks later on tonight, 8:40. You're going to get the first pitch. You can hear the Braves all season long right here on Jocks 94.5. Chris Sale trying to get his first win of the season as he opposes Zach Gallen, who is 1-3 for the Snakes with a 5.6 something ERA, but unfortunately, Chris Sale's ERA is a little bit higher.
It is.
Yes.
6.17.
Yeah. Where are your Cardinals tonight?
At home.
Ooh, against the Brew Crew.
That's correct. First meeting between the Brewers and the Cardinals this year. Coming off that wonderful road trip.
Now, I did see in my fantasy lineup where maybe you're going to have some weather, but this time of year, maybe, I don't know, it showed a rain cloud near Contreras in my lineup. It gives a little.
Is that what that means? Is it actually bad weather, or is it the fact that he is trending in the wrong direction and it's like dark clouds?
He's not as bad as some, but he had a home run Monday against the Braves.
He did. Still batting below the Mendoza line, if I'm not mistaken.
He is.
Yeah.
But you know what? I got faith in it. That and the fact that I don't have another catcher on my roster. I put it all in on Contreras this year.
So one of the big stories in college football this week was the 75-year-old judge in California slapping the NCAA around and saying,
Judge
guess
Claudia.
what, guys? You got 2 weeks, 14 days to come up with a new plan because I am not going to approve this. Well, reports are coming out right now that the Power Conference officials and attorneys are meeting today to further explore a proposal to address a judge's concerns over the House settlement roster limits. So work has begun on a legal response to try to grandfather in those rosters. That's what the NCAA, they wanted to cut it all the way to, I should say the Power 4 conferences wanted to cut it to 105. Judge Wilkins says, nope, you're going to have to kind of do better than that. You got to come up with a plan. So they're talking about it. They have 12 days to file a response to Judge Claudia.
And hopefully they don't use their time drawing the line in the sand where we have to. She's been clear on what she wants to see.
You can't play chicken again.
No.
I mean, if you play chicken again, that you're going to lose.
Yeah.
And you're going to lose about $12.5 billion.
Yeah, because then you draw the ire of a judge.
Well, she's going to send it to trial.
Yeah.
She's going, okay, well, I've given you months to try to fix this. I gave you April 7th. I told you what I wanted to hear. Then you come back this week. You told me something I didn't want to hear. And now I'm giving you 2 weeks. And then you take the 14 days and you don't do anything.
All of that negotiating that led us to this point, all of it. And knowing what could be on the backside and how much you ultimately would have to pay, and getting that settlement you felt like was a win. And now she's asking for just a few little things. And maybe in the grand scope, Pat, they're big things, but they seem pretty inconsequential right now compared to $12 billion as opposed to 2.8.
Yeah. Also going on today, and they're meeting, I think, as we speak, and this is very interesting, and we're going to see who else is going to go down this road, and I think it's going to be the majority of college football. So today in Lexington, Kentucky, the Kentucky Board of Trustees, they will be voting on shifting the entire athletic department into a limited liability or holding company called Champions Blue LLC. So this likely is going to provide some privacy shields from the public and nosy reporters that are trying to dig to find out where the money's going in certain accounts through the athletic department.
I don't like this. Because I am that nosy guy that wants to know. And so are you.
So the entire Kentucky athletic department is going to be moved into a limited liability or a holding company called Champions Blue LLC.
Really good idea.
Now, keep in mind, it is a state-funded institution.
Yeah.
So there are certain things that as taxpayers in the state of Kentucky, you have the right to know. There's certain things. But I was reading an article about this morning, and it was talking about how the University of Kentucky bought 2 community hospitals recently. And they put those 2 hospitals under a similar LLC, kind of separate from the university, but the board of directors of the hospitals, they still have to answer to the board of trustees. And obviously the board of trustees is open to
how many other state
open
institutes?
laws.
Because we don't even get that with salaries. We get reports right now with the private institutions for coaches. But how many public institutions followed this model? I would think a lot.
I would think a great deal of them. I mean, the entire athletic department being moved to an LLC. So there will be certain things that will be able to be protected. Others will not. But it's just fascinating that they're going down this road as we're on the precipice of massive change in the NCAA when it comes to what's going to happen with the House settlement.
Well, I mean, it's so vague in most cases what NIL deals these guys have, where the money's coming from. It just seems like it's all in just one big slush pot. And there's no transparency. So why should this be any different? From the school side of things, I don't blame them. Because then you're just going to put your athletic department, your budget, where money is appropriated under the microscope. And you're going to get, I would guess, a lot of scrutiny and a lot of criticism as why did this program get this and this program got that?
Yeah.
Why did you send this money here after that season as opposed to this money here?
Mm-hmm.
And people start nitpicking. I don't blame them, but for the sake of what we do, I hate that.
More 3-Man Front. Your calls are welcome. We'll play you some crazy audio from New York City.
Get ready.
Well, they are fired up about the Jackson Dart pick.
Get your Lysol ready.
Yeah, that's next. Well, it'd be an understatement if you thought the people in New York were happy with the New York Giants pick last night. Stay tuned. We're going to play you some audio and kind of give you an example of the fervor of the National Football League in the city of Gotham.
How about our friends at Second Generation Masonry, great Alabama-based company. They're going to take care of you both residentially and commercially. Brickwork, concrete work, cinder block work, stone work, decorative patios, driveways, custom walkways, outdoor kitchens, fire pits, fireplaces, you name it. They can do it. And they serve the metro area, also Leeds, St. Clair County. A lot of different concrete services tailored to enhance the beauty and functionality of your property. They got a great team. Just try them out. You can get a quote, get them to quote a project that maybe you're just wondering, can this be done? I guarantee you they can do it. Second Generation Masonry, secondgenerationmasonry.com. Get the free quote today and make sure you tell them Landrum from 3-Man Front sent you.
So just a couple of minutes ago, we were telling you about an interesting clip that was making the rounds of John Gruden. As you know, John Gruden has an opportunity. He meets with all these top quarterbacks that's about to be in the NFL draft. He did that when he worked at ESPN. Now he's doing it for Barstool. So here's the clip I was referencing in regards to him meeting with Jackson Dart.
Stand up. Let me see your snap count. Let me be honest with me, because I see at USC, I see this guy.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
You ready?
Yeah. No, I want to hear the snap count.
Yeah.
Really? Every time?
Every time.
Do you have like a dummy clap or anything?
Yeah, we call it purple.
What's that? No,
yeah.
For 3 years, you've been clapping. I think I could do that.
Let me hear it.
No, I ain't doing it.
So you can tell, and if you see the video, John Gruden is just absolutely dumbfounded.
Do you think Gruden knew that he was going to respond that way?
No. No.
Like he was just
Not
playing
at all.
along. Like, let me hear it.
No. Not at all. So
If you would go a little more complex, with
keep
your
that
snap
clip in
count,
mind.
you can make a college football playoff, Pat.
WFAN in New York, one of the original sports talk stations in this country. This was a phone call and the reaction this morning on WFAN in regards to Jackson Dart.
How many Ole Miss games have you actually watched all year? Okay,
I've sat there and watched how many.
No. If the Giants like a quarterback, you go out and get him, Gio.
Okay, Mike. Hey, listen to me. Hold on for a second.
Hold
on a second.
New York.
For God's sakes, I'll talk to you. And by the way, I said this for dummies like you earlier, that I hated the Vikings pick of J.J. McCarthy. I said he stinks, and I hated it. So that has nothing to do with it being a Vikings fan or not. And how many Ole Miss games did John Gruden watch of Jackson Dart? And I'll tell you right now, he thinks he stinks.
How many times have you watched him play?
How many times have you watched him play, Mike?
More than you.
How many times have you watched him play? How many Seriously. He's from Ole Miss like Eli. You're probably one of those sickos who sat there and defended Daniel Jones for 6 freaking years.
And you thought the SEC was bad. Molly, you okay?
That was blah, 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 whatever he did.
And by the way, that was only a minute and about 10 seconds.
Golly,
that went on for another.
Can I just, first of all, can I applaud
That was great.
both of you for the editorial skills? Because that thing, needed a shower after I heard it. Now I know why Pat was hunkered down, hunched over, bent in half. Yeah.
I was just making sure we're all.
They're very passionate.
All protected.
We don't have that kind of passion around here.
No, I wish our SEC fans were
Man,
more
step
passionate.
up your game, guys and girls. Why don't we don't get that kind of reaction after the UFL draft?
Oh my goodness.
By the way, how many of those guys last night end up in the UFL? Or tonight?
Oh, I thought you meant how many of those guys might be playing tonight in the UFL.
Maybe so.
All right, so I just saw a brand new round 2 mock draft.
Okay. Molly, you got a little NFL music? Can we get some NFL films? Getting pumped up. Round 2. How much?
We'll be at the Stallions game tonight. We'll have to
Oh, I
follow
know.
our phones.
I was going to say, I just, from this point on, I get the dun dun dun.
Oh,
you just look at my phone.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah.
See if Molly's got something. There you go.
Yeah.
All right, this is not a full round two. I'm not.
George Hallis brought his.
So according to the Sporting News, round two of the NFL mock draft tonight, the very first pick by the Cleveland Browns will be Luther Burden III.
No! We want Shedeur.
They picking two more?
Just take it easy.
Yeah.
I gotta take it easy.
Nick Amanawari from South Carolina. He's going to the Texans at number 34.
Okay.
Love that pick.
SEC.
Jaden Higgins, a wide receiver from Iowa.
Oh.
They throw the ball there?
It's news to me.
Whoa.
He's going to go to Damien's Tennessee Titans.
You know what? After the embarrassment of riches last night with Cam Ward, you deserve an Iowa wide receiver.
So with the fourth pick of tonight's second round, the long national nightmare will be over as Shedeur Sanders
There it
is picked to go to the Cleveland Browns. At 37, the Raiders take Jack Beck, wide receiver from TCU. I'm scrolling down here. And the most interesting at number 40, the New Orleans Saints. They do not take Jalen Milroe.
What?
They take Will Johnson, a cornerback from Michigan, who was someone that was rumored that was going to go in the first round last night.
Heard that name a lot.
Yep. So they only go to the first 11 picks of the second round, but there is no Jalen Milroe. But Shedeur Sanders. And here's the interesting part. And I don't know if it's a budget thing. I'm not really sure. So if Cleveland has pick 33 and pick 36, why Luther Burden III first and Shedeur Sanders second? If or unless they're wanting to make sure that if somebody would like to trade for their 36th pick,
right,
that could be
that they're going to take with their first pick the one that they really want.
Yes.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So they're leaving their options open at 36 to where if somebody comes in and goes, hey, maybe it's the Saints. Maybe the Saints go, hey, we would like Shedeur Sanders.
Yeah.
How about if we trade up? But they still get their wide receiver that they wanted in Luther Burden.
I know it's the chances are you're not going to work out if you're a quarterback, whatever organization you go to. But I was just looking back at the Browns and quarterbacks they've drafted since
the beginning of time.
Since 1999. Tim Couch. These are not in order, but Tim Couch, Baker Mayfield. And Baker's done, he's had some bumps in the road, but Baker's done okay. Brady Quinn, Brandon Whedon, Johnny Manziel, Deshaun Kaiser, Charlie Fry, Colt McCoy,
Charlie Fry,
Cody Kessler, Luke McCown, Dorian Thompson Robinson, and Spurgeon Wynn.
I remember when they took Dorian Robinson.
You remember when they took Spurgeon Wynn?
I don't remember that one.
I don't either. That was way back in year 2000. 6th round, 183 overall. So historically speaking, Shedeur, I would not want to go to Cleveland for all the other reasons that we've listed throughout the week. That's tough. But your theory, I think, works.
Well, they're keeping their options open. Where if somebody really wants Shedeur Sanders, come take him.
Do you think Jalen Milroe goes before pick 45?
I have not checked the Vegas odds on Jalen Milroe recently, but based on some of the people that I just follow out of the state of Louisiana, I think they really hope that Jalen Milroe's there at 40.
Okay.
I think the Saints could pull the trigger there.
And that would be a bonus win for New Orleans.
I think so too.
Because it's not so big of a gamble.
Mm-hmm.
But I just think back to the Kelvin Banks last night.
So So, and I guess if you're in the Jalen Milroe camp, you're looking at the Raiders. That's been a rumor.
Yeah.
That he would be back up and learn under Geno Smith.
That'd be great. I thought that was the other team I thought last night, potentially, if they were going to trade and try to get
Shedeur. Or just any quarterback.
Shedeur to learn under Geno Smith.
Yeah.
And Pete Carroll.
Mm-hmm.
Seemed like that would be a good fit for him.
So the Raiders have the 5th pick tonight, and then the Saints would come in with the 8th pick. So I think those are if you're a Jalen Milroe fan, I think those are the two teams to keep your eye on. Or at 42, the Jets. That was another mock I saw earlier in the week.
Ooh.
Not the Jets.
Can we hear that same radio show on Monday?
Please.
Who is more upset, Giants fan or Jets fan? You're just not going to make those two fan bases happy.
Of course not. It's been a long time
It's
since
been a minute.
Yeah, I saw some stat the other day. I think the New York Jets were the only team not to play a playoff game during the Pope Francis era.
You are exactly correct.
Before he passed away.
Mm-hmm.
Every team.
Whoa.
Every team in the National Football League.
Yeah.
Had one playoff game during Pope Francis's time as Pope. Except the Jets.
Wow.
I did see that right, Molly?
I believe so.
Yeah.
I'll double check though.
Man, they were so good in the AFL.
They were so good with Joe Namath.
They were.
They were fantastic. All right, we'll get to your text messages. Phone lines are open 1-800-239-WJOX.
12:50 three-man front here on this Friday. A lot of draft reaction. We have passionate fans on the text line. Sorry, it took my breath away. Will you play that one next? You don't have to. It's a little slow. Text line is open, 205-834-9450. A lot of talk about Jalen Milroe. Where will he go? Potentially to the Saints at number 40. We take you to the text line now. And Jamie fires in and says, I don't give an expletive where Milroe goes as long as it isn't my Saints.
Also, Pat, I found that stat that you were talking about. The New York Jets are the only NFL, NBA, or MLB team to not make the postseason during his tenure.
So it was all the leagues, not just the NFL.
Except for hockey. But yes,
okay.
NFL, NBA, and MLB.
Wow.
The New York Jets are the only team never saw
and that is an
postseason.
incredible stat. It was already an incredible stat, even more so now that you just said that, Molly. But, and God rest his soul, but maybe a new pope means newfound success for the Jets.
Maybe.
Just saying. Josh, up in Huntsville, says, didn't Vegas have Dart at number 25? Did Pat play that for entertainment?
I did not. I debated it. We talked about it on the show, and I did not pull the trigger. But it's fascinating how a trade had to take place for that to happen.
It was the Rams, right? Was it Rams? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because I thought the Rams potentially could take a quarterback. It's not like their quarterback's super.
I think they will next year.
Spry.
Yeah, Molly's already calling her shot.
I am. I thought that was a smart move by the Rams. Who is it? Arch, man. No, I'm kidding. But we'll see.
She thinks Stafford is
I think he'll be done.
It's finished.
Ty Simpson.
Sure.
Posey asking Jalen the next Taysom Hill. Is he open to that? Or does he just want to play quarterback?
Based on the people I talked to, he is pretty hell-bent on being a quarterback.
What would the reaction be if Shedeur walked into the Browns office after they drafted him and been like, hey, can you do what your teammate did? Can you play both sides? Dad? Or does he say father? I don't know. Just a bunch of bull junk.
Do you think he's still the favorite?
Hmm?
Do you think he's still the favorite right now?
Oh, of course.
Yeah, it's Travis Hunter.
Yeah. That's Deion's favorite child.
That's true.
Why couldn't you be more like your brother? Who do y'all think will be the highest rated drafted Alabama player next year in the draft? I'm thinking Keon Sabb or Deontay Lawson, says one listener.
Yeah, I was thinking Lawson. Sabb stays healthy, has the kind of year that they're hoping he's going to have. I think he definitely could be in that conversation.
Drake wants to know if his 49ers take a quarterback. You've got a lot of run out of Mr. Irrelevant.
Mr. Purdy. And they're still negotiating a contract for Purdy, correct?
Yeah, I think so.
But he is at OTAs, which that's always a positive sign instead of trying to hold out.
What does it say about Shedeur that James Pierce went ahead of him? All they talked about was his off-the-field antics and what a bad giraffe choice it was for the Falcons. I don't know if he meant that on purpose because of his frame or what. If so, very cleverly done. That says a lot.
But let's be honest. Before last night, there was only maybe 4 slots, Molly, that you could really say potentially Shedeur would go.
I mean, if that. I don't even know if I'd say 4. Because the only other one that I maybe thought would be the Saints, and we talked about that last night. And when they didn't draft a quarterback, I was like, yeah, no.
It's done.
It's done, yeah.
Hey, I'm being serious here. If you're Shedeur and you had all of those people for the get together last night, do you invite them back tonight, or do you go more low key?
And I assume all the cameras will be there, right?
Yeah. I mean, they're going to keep following that.
That's a fancy setup. I would think so.
Or they bring a whole different new crew in of friends. Just kind of shake it up.
Yeah.
Because it's bad juju.
Oh,
Bring the good luck friends.
Yes. Like you call a casting company and you have some people come in. Some like social
Some
influencers.
actors.
Well, how about some were like, you know what? We'll go over there. It's a Thursday night. He's going to get drafted. And now some are like, I got weekend plans.
Yeah, I got stuff to do Friday night.
I can't hang out with you here all weekend. That'll be fascinating. Love Tyler Booker to my Cowboys. He finishes up the rebuild of the great O-line they had from the 2010s. He's going to be the third Tyler on the line, joining Tyler Guyton and also Tyler Smith. Collins from Pell City. Thank you. I have to follow up on that one. Not sure. Shedeur will end up in the UFL. I don't see him getting drafted. Too much to deal with. Another vote for Deontay Lawson, being the first Alabama player taken in the first round next year. And Joe from Birmingham says Gail Benson needs to sell the Saints and the Pelicans. She is absolutely clueless. Saints, defense, quarterback, running back, every position, another year below 500, a reason to start drinking again. Oh, gosh, don't do that. Giants should have taken Milroe so Winston can show him who has the best crab legs. I'll do some follow-ups on some of these, try to decipher exactly what you meant. 205-834-9450.
One more hour to go for the week. Join us here on Three Man Front. Landrum, Molly, Pat, Conrad back with us on Monday. This is Three Man Front, Jocks 94.5. It is 1 o'clock, Jocks 94.5. Thanks for tuning us in on this Friday. We've got Stallions football tonight down at Protective Stadium. Hopefully, the rain will stay away, and it'll be a good night for a Protective Stadium and for the fans to show up, because the last time we had a home game, a couple weeks ago, we had bad weather.
Yeah,
it got cold.
It got cold.
Yeah.
I got really chilly.
Well, Wallace State softball swept a doubleheader with Coastal Alabama South yesterday to run their win streak to 11 in a row, maintaining first place in the ACCC with a 22-4 conference record. They'll continue the series with Coastal tomorrow with another doubleheader on the road. So for more information on the Lions, go to athletics.wallacestate.edu.
I know you will be in attendance tomorrow morning for the UAB Spring Showcase.
Yep.
That is set to take place at the Legacy Pavilion. Gates will open up at 10 a.m. and, of course, get an opportunity for fans to meet with some of the players and the coaches. And the scrimmage is going to start around 11 o'clock, so it should be a fun time tomorrow morning. Weather is supposed to be really nice, so that should be fun down at UAB as they wrap up spring. So everybody will have spring in the books officially once that concludes.
Yeah, we got food trucks, bouncy houses, interactive games.
You'll be in that bouncy house.
Well, if they'll let me. Some kids got hurt. I'm just kidding. But also we're going to have a scrimmage around 11 a.m. too. So you'll get to see some of that and a lot of new faces, as is the case with most every college football roster these days. But yeah, and you'll get to meet some of the new coaches, a lot of NFL flavor on the defensive side of the ball.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I'm excited about it.
So just perusing the old Vegas board here. The offensive rookie of the year, who do you think has the best odds of who was drafted last night?
Of being rookie of the year?
Mm-hmm. Offensive rookie of the year.
That would be Travis Hunter.
He's got the third best odds.
Cam Ward.
Ashton Genty.
Cam Ward is second.
And it's not Ashton Genty.
It is Ashton Genty.
Okay.
Okay.
He is one. Cam Ward is second. Travis Hunter has the third best odds. Ted McMillan, the wide receiver for the Panthers, he comes in with the fourth best odds. Amarian Hampton at 12-1. Matthew Golden, the wide receiver, now with the Packers, 18-1. Does that surprise you that Cam Ward is not listed as number one, or Travis Hunter?
Travis Hunter actually does surprise me, but I guess you have to take into account who they're going to be sharing with, who their supporting cast is, all that good stuff. But Ashton Genty, I
thought that was a great pick by the Raiders.
And Josh Jacobs was a great pick by the Raiders. Last year, was it last year that the Raiders, they went and got Superman from Georgia, tight end. Brock Bowers. The Raiders, it seems like in recent years, they have, well, everybody has, I guess, if you look at the numbers, but they've gone heavy SEC.
Smart. Real smart.
They're doing something right.
Yeah, they are.
More games.
So Alabama last night, two players went in the first round. Tyler Booker goes 12 to Dallas. His 4-year pay will be $22.5 million there in the Metroplex. Jahad Campbell, linebacker, he goes to number 31. Philadelphia gets him. His pay will be $14.8 million over the next 4 years. Last season, Campbell had 117 total tackles. It's very interesting to have those two Alabama players go off the board. So Alabama was tied with Ole Miss with the second most SEC players taken in the first round. Texas and Georgia had 3 apiece. The transfer portal window, Alabama kicked the tires on another tight end, and they got a commitment yesterday from former Troy tight end Brody Dalton. He has committed to the Tide. He will have 1 year of eligibility remaining. He joins tight end from West Virginia, Jack Samarco, who joined the Tide earlier this week. Meanwhile, a little bit of news out of Auburn. Auburn tight end Rico Walker, he's expected to enter the transfer portal. He appeared in 4 games last year. He was a transfer from Maryland the year before. Auburn offensive lineman Jaden Muskrat, he has entered the NCAA transfer portal. He's a junior offensive lineman. He was Auburn's backup left tackle last season. Before Auburn, he was at Tulsa, where his former head coach was before he came and was the offensive coordinator. And the most devastating news of the morning from the transfer portal comes out of New Orleans, Louisiana.
What am I going to do with the throw pillows?
Tulane quarterback TJ Finley has re-entered the transfer portal as a grad transfer. So good for him if he has gotten his degree from one of the 17 institutions that he has called his home.
I want to see that transcript. How many of that stuff carried?
That's what I was going to say. These hours, Mr. Finley will not transfer.
Sorry, sir. Sociology 101. No.
You can't take that 10 times.
No, can't do it.
He has been at LSU. He has been at Auburn.
Maybe he's pre-med. We don't know that.
He has been at Texas State. He has been at Western Kentucky. He was indefinitely suspended earlier this month from Tulane. He is now in the transfer portal waiting for the next phone call.
Years from now. Grandpa, give us your top 3 schools that you attended.
All in one year? Or
what?
You know what I would care about?
What?
Well, I mean, I would want to know if he got to keep all the helmets.
Maybe that's what was in the car. No, just kidding.
Stolen gear?
We don't know. We do not know that he is the one. That is still pending something. But it was $25,000 worth of merchandise. I thought you can't fit all of that in a moped. Does he still have the moped?
I don't know what kind of.
Seems like you would invest maybe in a travel van.
A travel van.
Yeah. Like one of the old, it had the little mini TV and you had the cushiony seats, even had blinds on the windows. You just live in that thing. Why take time moving stuff into a dorm?
Yeah, that's true.
If you're him.
So today is the final day for players to submit their paperwork to enter the college football transfer portal. There have been 4,700 entries this cycle. Just this cycle, 4,700. And again, today is the final day for grad transfers to also file their paperwork, hence the reason why TJ Finley put his name in the portal. So the 10-day spring transfer portal window traditionally is not loaded with talent in the window. That's all happens back in December. But most Power 4 rosters, they have their position set because they just finished up with spring practice. So I was reading a story and it was listing the Power 4 rosters, the rosters that have had the biggest impact on players departing those rosters. So which ones were affected the most in this cycle?
Okay.
Now, Tennessee was not listed because, yes, they lost Nico and they added Aguilar, but they really have not lost a lot of other numbers from a depth perception. So they're not listed. Matter of fact, no other SEC team is listed on this list, which is, I think there's about 7 schools that they listed as the biggest losers during this spring portal cycle. And these are in alphabetical order, by the way. They did not list them, but these are the schools. BYU, they had 10 players this cycle. It's a lot, including their top linebacker and return specialist gone.
Did they not have the NIL deal just a couple of years ago where everybody got a truck?
That was Utah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, BYU may have something similar.
My apologies to Utah fans and BYU fans. I thought it was BYU.
No, yeah, like Pat said, they might
You're
have
stereotyping.
But
it's one of them schools out in Utah.
There you go.
Okay.
This next one will not come to a surprise to anybody. California.
Yes.
17 departures this spring alone.
Nothing to see here, guys.
3
Parsons got everything under control.
Oh, no.
3 of the 17 departures were full-time starters on offense, including the Bears' top receiver and the 2023 rushing leader, Jaden Ott. FSU Dave's not going to like this next one. Florida State. 4 of the 9 players who left this spring started games for the Seminoles in 2024, including the only 5-star recruit in the Norvell era, receiver Hakeem Williams, who started 8 games, caught 21 passes in his 2-year career in Tallahassee. This next one kind of surprised me. I don't really follow them as closely as I probably should, but Houston, they lost their all Big 12 defensive back, and they also lost one of their top cornerbacks. This one's going to sting. So Maryland, the Terrapins lost 8 players to the portal this spring, including 4 to the Big 10 and SEC schools. The most notable were 2 starting linebackers, including Caleb Wheatland, who just ended up at Auburn. Wheatland started 11 games and led the Terrapins with 4 sacks in 2024. So both of their top 2 linebackers gone at Maryland. I was not aware of this next one. Maybe you guys were. North Carolina. The Tar Heels have had an ACC high 25 departures this spring. But 9 of those 25 are former walk-ons, and all but 5 were reserves for the Tar Heels last season. So numbers-wise, it looks bad. But as far as contributors go, maybe not as bad. But they did have notable losses. Ohio State-bound edge rusher Bo Atkinson was the team leader in tackles for loss and sacks. And linebacker Amari Campbell, who started 12 games in 2024. And also redshirt freshman receiver Christian Hamilton. He was a 4-game starter last year for North Carolina. He has now left for West Virginia. And the final 2 schools that they said has been the biggest losers in this spring portal cycle, Stanford. Stanford lost 5 players due to the coaching change, including their top edge rusher, center, receiver, and safety. So, I mean, they got hit pretty hard. I'm not saying that Stanford were world beaters last year, but when you lose your top edge rusher, center, receiver, and safety, that's a problem. And finally, they listed Syracuse. The Orange, they've lost 10 players, have departed this cycle, including the ACC's top receiver last season. He's gone. So obviously the quarterback situation graduated. So the top receiver says, you know what? Not too sure about this backup quarterback from Notre Dame coming in. So I'm hightailing it. So BYU, Cal, Florida State, Houston, Maryland, North Carolina, Stanford, Syracuse. Those were the schools listed as the biggest losers in this spring portal cycle.
If you're a Florida State fan, maybe you think that that's good news.
Well, if you're FSU Dave, I'm sure if he was sitting here, he would look at us and say, well, look at our record last year.
Yeah.
Like, what difference does it make if Ferguson, former Alabama lineman, well, who cares if he's gone? We didn't win with him. So, big deal.
Not a surprise, though, with the numbers at North Carolina. And I would say
25.
Well,
yeah.
But also with Bill coming in, how many of those guys did he fight to save?
Did you already see the stories that people are doing these behind the scenes, talking about how much hell it is working for him in Chapel Hill? Oh, yeah. Those stories are already coming out.
Huh.
And then add on top of that is 24-year-old what
CEO.
It comes off as she knows everything. She's been in the real world for 2 years.
No,
she knows everything.
There's already the stories percolating about how bad it is in that football office building working for him.
Well, good luck retaining assistants.
And by the way,
that aren't related to you.
Just for the record, covering Nick Saban when he got to Tuscaloosa, we heard the same stories about how bad it was working for Nick Saban. So until you get a certain mindset established in that building, which it was completely different under Mac Brown, I could see people saying that this is problematic because the same thing was said about Nick Saban.
Yeah, but Nick Saban, and not that Bill Belichick doesn't have street cred, but Nick Saban had done it at a high level.
Yeah, won a national championship.
And the expectations at Alabama and returning Alabama to prominence a lot higher, I would think, than what North Carolina has. And what Alabama was willing to do. Now, North Carolina will to some extent, but to say that Bill Belichick's about to go on a run, I think would be premature. I do think that they're actually pretty good next year.
Think so?
Well, I'd say pretty good in relative terms.
CACC.
CACC, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 players drafted last night. But one of them was...
Not from North Carolina, from the entire conference, if you're just doing
Yes, not just from Chapel Hill. From the entire ACC footprint. No Clemson players drafted in the first round.
Nope.
Did Dabo have a pizza party last night?
It would not surprise me if Dabo had a pizza party with soft serve ice cream.
They'll be one of your top 10 darlings in the preseason.
For sure.
Or top 5.
Top 5 would be reaching, but I think top 10, based on what they have coming back and the fact that they play in the ACC. That helps things.
Very much so. Well, I'm going to tell you about a great deal going on at Abide Roofing. Travis Lloyd and his local roofing team, who are absolute pros, they've got a great deal for you right now. Free roof inspection. No strings attached, no pressure. They just want to give you an honest look at what's going on top of your roof, especially during this heavy spring storm season. We're going to get some more storms supposedly tonight and over the weekend. And so you need to have the peace of mind of knowing that everything on top of your roof is A-OK. That's where Abide Roofing comes in at 205-922-7134. Or go to the website, abideroof.com. They're going to offer you that free roof inspection. And trust me, folks, I'm speaking from experience because it's very important to protect your largest investment you're ever going to have, and that's your home, and to make sure that everything inside your home is going to be protected by not having water leaking into your top of your attic or through your house. Abide Roofing can take care of that as well. They helped me go through my insurance company. I got approved, and I got a brand new roof thanks to Travis Lloyd and his outstanding roofing team there at Abide Roofing. They are local. They're ready to help you today at 205-922-7134 or abideroof.com. More three-man front. This is Jocks 94.5.
Pat played this on repeat. We were heading up to Nashville a couple of years ago.
I mean, because you told me to. So
It was
I did.
awesome.
And you know what we did on the way back, don't you? You remember that?
Stop for me.
No. I'm not talking about that. I was talking about
when
we were watching the press conference.
Oh, that's right.
From Hoover, Alabama.
Oh yeah,
That was
about the fake
naked,
kidnapping,
the naked baby on side of 459. Were you still in Nebraska when that happened?
Yes, I think so. But I do remember that happening because I remember seeing it in Nebraska that went on.
But then, would you call
'Cause that
them?
was 2 summers ago?
Would you call them memes that we would get?
Oh my gosh,
That was 2 summers ago, right?
it was.
Yeah.
It was.
So yeah, I just graduated.
It was.
Yeah, because I think I talked to you a couple of weeks after that happened.
Yeah, I was in Lincoln.
So, yeah, Landrum and I, there was this. Everyone was asking us when we were in Nashville, "What's going on in Birmingham?"
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah,
What's happening? What's going on?
It's-
Birmingham is the center of the universe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got this, baby on the side of walking down 459, and what's going on? And then the afternoon that Landrum we were driving home from Nashville, we had the
live press conference.
Yeah, Landrum had the press conference pulled up on his phone, and we were listening to it.
Bizarre.
It was beyond, and it continued. The story continues to be.
It was a naked baby, right?
It was a baby in a diaper.
In a diaper.
Yeah.
Just in a diaper.
Just wandering down the shoulder of 459.
Yeah, just wandering, and the person that was missing for a little while claimed that saw this diaper-clad child walking down 459.
Yep. And
then something happened. And then that person for the next, 24 hours or so was missing.
Yeah.
And then there was.
But then I don't know why I remember these details. It was she had gone to a Target prior to, and I remember she bought a box of Cheez-Its and a couple of other
really
little
remember.
things. Yeah. But if you're gonna go missing for a day, supposedly,
make sure you get your snacks.
Make sure you have your snacks. It's so weird. 205-834-9450.
And just to see the reaction that Landrum and I would give people from around the country in Nashville. Like,
I
got nothing for you.
We got nothing.
I can just tell you that if there was a baby wandering on the shoulder of 459, then that is a very fortunate baby to still be alive. Because the way that people drive on 459.
Amen.
Absolutely.
That's a problem.
Yeah, people texting and just sliding over onto the shoulder. But heaven forbid it actually ever really happens, and it's the same 911 operator that answers the phone. Whatever. Like, that wouldn't happen, though. Hope not, anyways. How about our friends at Prize Picks? Prize Picks. There was no other way to do it. Prize Picks is a great way to have fun with daily fantasy sports. We had the draft special last night. You actually do still have some ways that you can go matchups and predictions on the NFL draft tonight with Prize Picks. Download the app and fill out all of your information. And you simply put in promo code WJOX. When you put in promo code WJOX, your first $5 play, win or lose, you're going to get $50 instantly back to your account. We appreciate our friends at Prize Picks. And tonight, I'm going to go Major League Baseball. We get the Braves trying to win their third road game of the season as they take on the Snakes, the Arizona Diamondbacks, 8:40 the first pitch. You can hear the game right here on Jocks 94.5. Chris Sale, 3-0 record career lifetime versus the Diamondbacks. And that included last year, but also a 2.81 earned run average. I'm not going to go with wins. I'm not going to go with earned run average. I'm actually going to go with strikeouts. Right now, 6 is the projected total. So do I go more or less? 6 strikeouts versus the Diamondbacks. The last time he faced them, it was 9 strikeouts. But what Chris Sale is having problems with right now is getting guys to swing and miss. I'm going to go less.
It's a good pick.
Less than the 6 strikeouts makes me feel better. You agree. Now, 4, Marcell Ozuna. He is a 250 career hitter versus Zach Gallen, who the Braves will face tonight. Included going 2 for 3 in a matchup last year. 0.5, more or less, singles for Marcell Ozuna.
I say more.
I say more as well. And it's just that easy. If I hit on both of those, I'm a winner. You can be a winner too. All kinds of sports to play. Prize Picks, enter promo code WJOX, and you can win. We appreciate Prize Picks.
And it's interesting because Marcell Ozuna was traded to St. Louis for Zach Gallen.
It always comes back to St. Louis.
Really bad
It's
front
the
office.
Kevin Bacon. It's the Kevin Bacon game of baseball.
Really bad front office. That's what happens.
We do have someone on hold.
Okay.
I don't know who it is. Welcome in, listener.
Gee, I wonder who it is. Hello, Landrum.
Hey, Don. How are you?
I told Landrum what your big plans were at Talladega this weekend.
Yeah. I got breaking news for you, Landrum. My Kaylee doll is entering the transfer portal, and she's going to Talladega.
Hey, you know what? Here's a great idea. And they told me that you were going to do this, and you're going to take Kaylee, your friend, take her by. Hey.
My fake friend, the blow up doll.
Yes, it is a blow up doll. But is there any way that you could get that into like your our local Homewood Piggly Wiggly, and go to Frank and just let him know what you're doing, and they could fill that thing up with helium, and you could tether it.
Well, too late for that, my friend. I'm in Moody meeting a couple of my friends that we're camping out with. We got about 8 people to go, but here's what the plan is. I already told Pat, and Molly doesn't know this yet either. We park by this little lazy river behind turn 1 and 2. So on Sunday morning when we break down our camp to go over to the track, we're going to have a little celebration and let the little girl go down the lazy river, Landrum.
Okay.
So is this going to be similar to what the Vikings used to do when their warriors died?
They
and
would light the raft?
Yeah, they put them on a boat or a raft, and they would set them out to Valhalla.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder where that tributary ends up.
Yeah, I was going to ask. I'm not really familiar with that lazy river.
I'd be really careful doing that, though, because we were just talking about a fake news story. Can you imagine a passerby and just taking a quick glimpse of Kaylee, your blow up friend,
somebody's Landrum.
not responding in an inner tube?
Well, no. Well, actually, my friend, I got a over under that is probably going to last about 500 feet, and somebody drunk in the campground will grab it and have fun with it. Yes.
Hope not.
Okay. Hey, Landrum, when's the last time you went to Talladega?
The last time was with a show. The good folks at Talladega invited us, and I got to meet Deontay Wilder. So that was
there you go.
Like 7 years ago.
Did you get down on pit row and all the pre-race stuff?
Oh yeah, we got up in the tower, overlooked the pit crew. A lot of respect for those guys and gals.
Now, Don, a lot of people are wondering if you're coming back for the Stallions game tonight.
No, sir, buddy. I think we're going to have good luck though with the rain. I got some people from Georgia coming. My friend, I don't really need to leave them. But I'll be. I think the next home game a week from Sunday at 3.
That sounds right.
Okay, but I'll be there for that one, and we're gonna. I talked to you about this the other day. The last home game of the year, we're gonna have another big tailgate and everything, and I'm going to get all of y'all and everything. But real quickly, I got a Trim Tap. I'd never been there until last night. That is a very nice place, and I got to get. I don't know what the company's name is with the food truck, but I'm telling you what. I know I cooked a lot of burgers in my lifetime, but my goodness, and I hope you and your wife enjoyed y'all's. That was a great burger, man.
That was fantastic. Yeah, the Maui burger. It was outstanding.
Yeah,
there.
that was okay. Maui burger. Okay, that's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
But no, hey, Pat, that's such a good time.
That was
Landrum. I know you, Landrum. We missed you, buddy, but. When I get back, I'm gonna take a good video of this, what we're doing. So I'll show it to y'all Tuesday at our good old social taco.
Well, be careful there at Talladega. Crazy things have happened at times.
It was good while it lasted.
Yeah,
I thought you two were.
Yeah, well, luckily I don't drink anymore, so I behave.
Well, that's good.
That's good. Well,
If you
Don,
could,
be careful.
Andrew, if you could have seen me 40 years ago, though, buddy. Oh, my goodness.
All right, Don. Well, be careful, and we'll talk to you later.
All right, guys. Thank y'all very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I thought my helium idea was actually pretty good.
It's probably better than the river.
I'm not sure if Piggly Wiggly would have let him to come in there to do that, but
that's why I said you got to get with Frank.
Could you imagine the looks? Him,
yes,
bringing in Kaylee.
Yes, but they all know Don, so they'd be like, "Oh, it's Don."
So just give him a pass.
I don't know. I was going to recommend maybe putting it, concealing it.
All kidding aside, we do appreciate everybody that showed up last night at Trim Tab Molly. It was a fun time.
Oh yeah, we had a great time. We
Yep.
had a lot of our good listeners there. We all had some good beer. Got to watch the draft. Chris threw his hat, but it was great.
Yeah, it was fantastic. So I appreciate the fine folks at Trim Tab having us out and you being a part of that special evening with us. More 3-Man Front, little Pat Ponders next here on 3-Man Front.
.136 3-Man Front. Afternoon baseball, they are delayed top of the first inning at Wrigley. Phillies and the Cubs. Later on, you do get the Cardinals hosting the Brew Crew, 7:15 Central Standard Time. And late night, kind of late night for us, but at least it's a Friday. It's not a school night. You get Atlanta and Arizona, and you get that one at 8:40 Central Time. You can hear the Braves all season long right here on Jocks 94.5 and our network of stations.
So Diana Rossini just reported that the Pittsburgh Steelers have been receiving calls about the availability of wide receiver George Pickens. Pittsburgh is open to conversations as it navigates Friday night without a second-round pick. So I wonder if they would trade Hoover's George Pickens
to go and get
Interesting. Fascinating.
Wouldn't be the first Sanders that starred for the Steelers. Remember? Emmanuel Sanders. He played for the Steelers, didn't he?
Sure.
Everybody just nodding. It is time for 5 questions that Pat presents to the group being me and Molly. We will try to answer them. This is what we
Is
call.
Conrad on here?
You know what? Crap, I just realized. Where is he?
I did not realize he wasn't here.
Oh. This is what we call Pat Ponders.
Brought to you by Courtesy GMC in Trussville. They got TV screens everywhere in the showroom. You won't miss a thing this weekend. Go head out to Trussville off of exit 32, I-459 in Trussville, and take a look at their outstanding inventory of GMC, the best deals you're going to find anywhere right there at Courtesy GMC. All right, here we go. Question number 1. What do you guys think was the prevailing thought for all the teams that had an opportunity and needed a quarterback to pass on Shedeur Sanders? The prevailing thought of those teams.
We don't like him enough to deal with any extra that we may get from drafting him or through the course of his career while employed by our franchise.
Yeah, it comes with a lot of baggage, but also to the point we made earlier about the Browns, you want to, like, if you're looking out for certain positions, certain players, grab them first and then draft a quarterback later. Also.
Okay. Question number 2. Who was more ecstatic last night? Travis Hunter avoiding Cleveland or Jackson Dart being a first rounder for the Giants?
Travis Hunter, he strikes me as just a guy who loves playing the game. He just wants to go out there and play, and that he could acclimate and find things to love about a city, even if it's Cleveland. Jackson Dart, I think, would be the most elated.
I mean, I think considering only 2 quarterbacks went in the first round and it wasn't Shedeur or Shedeur Milroe, like some people have said, probably Jackson Dart. But I do think Travis Hunter was still very happy to get to go to Jacksonville because, you know, he's from Florida. I do think he would be able to play both sides more with the Browns, probably for a longer period of time, but I think probably both.
Not that I've ever desired to live in New York or anywhere really in the Northeast for a long period of time. I mean, it's fun to visit, but if I'm a quarterback and just the history with Eli Manning coming from Ole Miss, I think New York, the Giants, that would be a cool franchise to play for.
Yeah.
Especially at that position.
And now that quarterback room is what? Like him, Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston, and Tommy DeVito.
Tommy!
That is a wild room.
Oh, I love it.
That's pizza place Tommy, right? Yeah.
Tommy Cutlets.
Tommy Cutlets.
Speaking of quarterbacks, 4 of the last 5 overall number 1 picks in the draft have been quarterbacks. Cam Ward, Caleb Williams, Bryce Young, and Trevor Lawrence. In 10 years from now, of those 4 that I have mentioned, Ward, Williams, Young, and Lawrence, who will be considered the best pick in the NFL? Of those 4 quarterbacks, Ward, Williams, Young, or Lawrence?
Hmm.
Man,
Not everybody. Not everybody at one time.
Sorry,
man.
Pat. I'll go Cam Ward.
I would probably go Cam Ward or even Trevor Lawrence, just because, I mean, now you get Travis Hunter, at least for the Jags. And the thing about Cam Ward and Trevor Lawrence is the division that they play in. I think, like, no offense to the Bears, but when you got the Packers, the Lions, and the Vikings all in your division, that's going to be a little tough. And I'm sorry to the Panthers, but no. So.
I'm endorsing Cam Ward. He makes me excited about Titans football again. Will Levis did not have the same effect.
No, he did not.
What is so amazing, back in 2021, Trevor Lawrence, his deal with Jacksonville was $36.7 million. And because of the success of the NFL, the collective bargaining agreement, the new contract with the players, Cam Ward, his deal is worth almost $13 million more
Wow.
than Trevor Lawrence. And $11 million more than Bryce Young.
I am excited for Cam Ward, though, to see how the Titans do now. I wish him the best, truly.
Next question. According to media outlets in Orlando, the city has secured $1.5 billion to build a stadium to lure the Tampa Bay Rays to Orlando. If the team were to relocate to Central Florida, should the team change its name? And if so, what to?
When I think Orlando, I think theme parks.
Me too.
I
don't know if I would.
I don't know if I would change the name, though.
I don't think I would either. And I don't know. What was the idea? Isn't there some group in Orlando that's has a name in mind? I know Nashville, they have the Stars. Or did I make that up?
No, I think there were a couple that were bandied back and forth. But yeah, the news yesterday was that they reportedly have a $1.5 billion allocated to build a stadium to help bring the Rays to Orlando. So
I'm just trying to think anything that ties into Orlando that would be fun that you could inspire your team name after.
I mean, I think you should just keep the Rays.
Well, it's interesting because when the Rays first came into existence, it was the fish, Devil Ray.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they did the rebranding because the word devil
it didn't go over too
I
well.
know it sounds ridiculous, but
yeah.
And then they switched it to sun rays.
Yeah.
As opposed to the fish that killed
Steve Irwin. Crikey. I say just stick with the Rays.
Yeah, just keep
And
it.
I actually like what they've done with the uniform update kind of thing.
I like it.
I was not a fan of the purple with the Devil Rays.
No, go with some more tones on the bluer side.
Yeah.
Yep. On this National Arbor Day, as a kid, did you climb trees?
Yes,
I did.
Of course.
In my backyard and in my front yard.
Would also have to pick a switch for my meemaw if I acted up, which I was always going to go for the smaller twig. And if she didn't agree, then she found one that made me wish that I had
chose more wisely
on the first one.
I used to love climbing trees. That's part of the reason why my mom had to put me in gymnastics so young when I was like 2 or 3, was because I would climb all over the house and climb
Where's
outside.
Molly? She's up in that tree again.
Yep. And so she was like, I need to put you in something where you can just climb and tumble. That's why I did gymnastics.
Good old tree.
Yeah.
Used to go up there on a breezy day.
And just hang out.
Late in the evening, I would hang out and write poetry.
Would you?
Mm-hmm.
Play the lute?
Yes.
Do you have a little harp?
It's flute without the F.
Oh.
Yes. I would. Did you climb trees?
No.
You did?
No.
No.
I get sap all over my hands.
Yeah. Get some ants. Scare a squirrel.
Oh, yeah.
All right, final question of the week.
By the way, did you know squirrels? I didn't know this. They sunbathe.
Oh.
I was unaware of that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they sunbathe.
That's kind of cute.
Well, I thought, honestly, I thought one had died.
It was just
on my
sunbathing?
porch.
You're just soaking up the sun.
Yeah. I don't know who was more startled, me when he popped up, or it was the squirrel. Like, why is this guy invading my morning sun?
As I told you guys yesterday, BB was so kind to give me some questions that she had pondered. I think she called it BB's broodings. I think that's what she called it. So here's her question that I wanted to share with you guys. You live in a neighborhood where you are fortunate to have sidewalks and a decent yard, and many residents take walks frequently with their dogs. The dog decides to drop a load on your lawn, and the owner walks on, totally ignoring the present that was left. What do you do, if anything?
I'm witnessing this? I guess I'm witnessing this.
Yes.
If I'm witnessing this, I give them.
What are you doing? Like, are you going outside? Are you?
Yeah.
There's a verbal altercation.
It could lead to an altercation.
It could, yeah.
Oh, verbal altercation. I'm not saying a physical altercation. Like you go out there and say, "Hey, gringo, what are you doing?"
No, very.
Why are you letting
very
your dog?
very sternly. Hey,
Yeah.
excuse me. Do you don't have anything to clean that up? Well, hang on. I got something for you to clean that up, and I'll bring one of my old
Yeah.
grocery sacks out and watch them do
No,
it.
call him out on it. Yeah. That's disgusting. Because, like, whenever I dog sit for my parents, I always bring the little bags with me. Doesn't matter where I go.
Yeah. If I don't have a bag, pick it up in your hand right
Okay,
now.
That's also really
Right now, Molly. Pick it up and make a fist.
Ew.
Kidding.
Like Play-Doh.
Ooh.
Ugh.
No, I would throw up if I saw that. No,
me
but
too.
yeah, I would. No, I don't think I wouldn't start yelling at them, but I would get their attention.
Okay.
Stern.
What would you do if somebody let somebody through the gate walking their dog to your house? I know what
The
you
Gators would get them.
Not the dog. Throw the owner in there. Save the dog.
That's what I was saying. Yeah, the Gators would get them.
Dog didn't know any better.
No,
Can't help it. It says a dumb, inconsiderate owner.
exactly.
That is today's Pat Ponders. This week's Pat Ponders brought to you by Courtesy GMC and Trustful. Visit their online inventory at courtesybirmingham.com.
You had 27 great questions this week, by the way. We got 2 bonus. I keep up.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I had the 5 each day, then 2 from BB. Yeah.
More 3-man front. 1:53 here on a Friday. Hope everyone's doing well. Stallions tonight, Protective Stadium, trying to go 1-0 this week, 4-1 on the season as they host the Memphis Showboats. Latest check from Vegas, Stallions a 12-point favorite. We take you to the Jocks text line, 205-834-9450. A lot of follow-ups from Pat Ponders. Always really, really good questions from Pat and BB. And this is one that spawns from BB's question about if you had someone walking on the sidewalk in front of your house, they were walking their dog took a squat, left a present, they didn't clean it up, would you say something if you witnessed it? We all agreed that yes, we would say something. This one rolls in. Had an old neighbor that I confronted several times about his dog. Got a shovel and started giving it back on his driveway. It stopped after a few days.
That's hilarious.
So glad I moved away from Pat. Mike and Trustful.
Yeah, Mike, that was some interesting times that we both experienced.
That really happened? You serious, Clark? Oh, Brad Chandler. Cole has had a problem with people doing that in his neighborhood. It has led to Cole getting very upset a couple of times on their show.
I've seen that.
Luckily, that has not happened on my street yet. Hopefully it doesn't. Josh says, I would walk over, pick up the poo with my bare hand,
and fling it
and hurl it back at their head as they walk away. Have a good weekend. Wow.
Royal Pain on Twitter says a water hose for the dog walkers. And then the Orlando Tourist or the Orlando Fast Pass is.
I like the Fast Pass.
Fast Pass is good. Tourist is good. New neighbors have a large dog that has pooed in our front yard multiple times. I've literally taken the shovel and flung it into their yard multiple times.
Welcome to the neighborhood.
Joe says doo-doo is just fertilizer. Well, yeah, if you're going to leave it there and let it break down. Some of us enjoy walking in our yards barefoot. I don't understand that one either. Orlando roller coasters. Or the coasters. Just the coasters. What do you think?
That's a good one.
See that mischievous smile. Orlando Bluefish because they are trash. Jamie, Kelly McGillis did not age well.
No.
She did not.
Mm-mm.
Are we out of our poop? Nope. Dog expletive is not good fertilizer because of the chemicals in dog food. Go natural. Go natural. Natural dog food. Conrad welcomes those neighbors so he can waffle stomp in the yard. Have a great weekend.